Now it's time for EEEZ Around the Table with your host, Easy, who I'm pretty sure is easier than me. Earmuffs, kids. Adults only. Just the way I like it.
And earmuffs is the way I like it, too, on a Tuesday night at 10 o'clock at Lenny Melnick, afantasysports.com, the Legend Sports Network. This is Easy Kill, and this is our sports roundtable that has slowly become the Mark and Doug show.
I'll leave tonight up to you, Mark. You can just do all of it yourself.
I can do it myself.
It's Easy's one-man show.
It's going to be, when I've only done a few of those, I call those the easy peasy, because, there's not much to them. I think the last one I put easy peasy, Andrea, do not post, because I would, I didn't, I see you, I hear you. That must mean we have sound. Thank you, Andrea. And for putting the YouTube link out there. She's so sweet. It's hard. Who could ever be upset about that? She takes good care of me. Welcome, Doug. Like I said, right now it looks like a small round table again. Like I said, we talked before the show. I'm hoping that I think even the chat room, I've noticed a little bit of slowdown. I think it's just because baseball season's there. I think people in the evenings and people are doing things. Summer's getting closer. The sun's staying up longer. What about you?
I find that I'm in the same thing. I historically, we're all kind of fantasy fanatics at some level to be talking at these things. But when the baseball season opens, I like to just be a fan. I like to just I'll watch other games, but I make sure I watch the first couple Cubs games. I don't want to check all the other things. It's sort of like a little bit of a break before you got to get serious about things, because at this point in your fantasy leagues, the statistics don't matter that much. So what? Your one pitcher had an 8-run out.
Right. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm glad you bring that up, because I was yelled at earlier in the chat room today, because I said something, because none of it matters. Is there? I don't know. Most teams have maybe played four games. Is there any teams that have played 5?
Maybe the 2 teams that played in Japan.
Okay. Is there one stat right now, other than injury, that changes fantasy? What can any one player do in the first 4 games that would make any fantasy difference or change in a league or a season? Is there anything? I can't come up with one. What, somebody maybe, and again, it didn't happen, but if someone had 10 steals in their first 4 or 5 games, 10 steals, especially in Roto, would be huge. But that doesn't happen. My point is,
even if you were thinking of like let's say a guy that you'd never seen before, like a rookie pitcher or a guy from Japan came over at a great starting outing, would that change things a lot for you? Like, would you go, I need to get that guy? Because no matter how good we thought Paddock did, or Yusei Kikuchi did, that rookie in Toronto, Trent Thornton, the guy that beamed Bryce Harper,
yeah,
he went 6 innings, struck out 8. That was the best performance of the bunch. I'm not running out to pick him up.
Right, me neither. That's my point. We always have those, especially in baseball, and I think baseball is a little different than football because there's so many games. But yeah, if someone hits 2 or 3 home runs in a game, in baseball, that doesn't mean you should go pick them up. You might put a watch tag on them. You might do something else. Now, if you have a DL person or something in a spot where you're not dropping anybody, maybe, but baseball is just one of those where one game, or in this case, I'm even saying the first week, because the season starts goofy, meaning a lot of teams play it. It's not like they're playing every day right now. They're playing 2 games and off, or a game off, a game off. You know what I'm saying? They kind of do that with weather, because this first week, so to talk about,
if there's a good thing, so far no games have been canceled, which is positive. Oh, 1 game has been.
Yeah, I think the Reds had a game canceled, and that's been postponed. That was moved to like next month when they play the Pirates. That's one of those, that'll be a double header now.
Last year there was a lot of games postponed, which that's a big plus this year.
But in baseball, over the last couple of years, if I've learned anything, it's been, if you drafted him, sit a little while. And I'm an action junkie, so I love making moves. but it's not like football, where in football, after the first 2 weeks, a big chunk, a percentage of the season's over. You only play 12 or 13 weeks before you're in the playoffs. So, that's a little bit different. 4 games of baseball, we're not even close, so you can't be, dropping and moving players too much. I've not dropped anybody. Like I said, I had some DL Stanton, got hurt, Scooter Jeanette. I've had a few things where I've had to make moves, and I've just picked up people. To be honest, I went back to my draft information. I picked up a few players that I had low on my draft board, and I picked them up, and I'm going to roll with that. So I've made mistakes before and made moves too early in baseball.
This week on my show, we did our waiver wire bit, and we were principally just going back to the draft. These are guys that weren't drafted that we think still should be long. There's nothing new going on. I do think that the other side of the coin is that people can get like too. Well, I have the problem. Maybe I'm in a certain where I tend to love my draft so much that I get like hesitant to ever drop a player. And I
mistake over a long period of time, but I don't think you're making that mistake over 4 games.
That's why in baseball I always like to. I try very hard to draft like an injured guy, so I have one move to make without having to worry about dropping somebody.
Right. Yeah. And see, I did that, unfortunately, not reading or paying attention to rules. I did that in a league that doesn't have an IR spot. Now, I've been told that they've made the change to add the IR spot, but because the week, and it caught a lot of people off guard.
No,
I caught me off guard. Wink. Week 1.
The league has no.
It's still going on.
Yeah, week 1 is crazy long.
A lot of people thought Sunday was the last of the first week, and it wasn't. So, it caught a lot of us by mistake. So, Cha-Cha's saying it's the link for the old. Oh, you mean the YouTube link? Then Cha-Cha, Andrea posted it.
Andrea posted the wrong one, but you posted the right one.
I posted the right link to come on the show. Andrea posted the link to just go to
view last week's. But are you still there?
I think Cha-Cha's looking for the actual YouTube link. So, which Cha-Cha, if you go to YouTube and just all one word, a fantasy fan, you'll find me. Maybe I need to. Doug, say something important.
Something important.
Hey, thank you.
How's that work for you? I had nothing else to say.
But it didn't help me much. I was logging into my thing to my computer so I can.
I hear Trey Turner has a broken finger. Daniel Murphy's got a broken finger.
Happen?
I don't know. There's a thing going around with fingers.
A thing going right, and all right, Cha-Cha, you keep talking. I just can't talk and do the same time. I'm gonna post the link in the chat room here in just a second while you're doing.
Trey Turner suffers exits Phillies game after suffering finger injury on bunt. That happened today, right? April 2, 2019. Yeah, today. And with Daniel Murphy,
but without any information yet, right? I mean, you're not saying that like we already know he's out or broken or anything like that. It's just
Daniel Murphy has mallet finger, or at least they think he might have mallet finger, which I didn't even know was a thing.
What can you describe mallet finger? That's a new one.
It's did you ever? I don't know if you ever did it. Like, I was trying to describe to you what 16-inch softball was, the kind of softball we played in Chicago. But
right.
But when you play these games without gloves, if you take a ball at the that hits like the top of your fingers, and it can kind of jam your fingers in, and you can tear the tendon, and it can create a kind of a permanent bend in your finger. But you can get this playing tennis. You can get.
I don't want a permanent bend in my finger.
Nobody wants one.
Now I have
but you wear that like a bad. I played first base. That's what I have. And if I ever meet some guy from Chicago and I go, "Hey, you play softball?" We go, "Yeah, look at that." And then he goes, "Yeah, look at this thing." That's just what we have. But that's what mallet. Another name for mallet finger, which I never heard of, is baseball finger. It comes from getting the ball like to hit you like this, and you can get it from basketball.
Right. I mean, I have a buddy that has a broken finger, and he can put it in a situation where if you're not paying attention or you don't know him, it looks fine. But he can also just take it and just kind of, move it off to the, where it looks like he's pointing. It's kind of ugly. But I don't know. Did you notice I got my green screen back up and running there? I got
I didn't see it. I was just trying to say something that I knew about baseball. So I knew about these two injuries. So you could go check all the things you need to check.
Well, I did. They said I didn't have the right link for YouTube in there, and I don't now that I thought about it. I normally post that in there and I didn't. So Andrea must have just posted one that she had. So, but it's in the room now. If you want to watch this on YouTube, and again, I'm terrible, Doug, at, this is Easy Kill. And, you can find me at afantasyfan on Twitter or afantasyfan.com, which will bring you to my portion of the site on Lenny, which at that point you can get from there, you get the YouTube, the chat room and everything from there. So you can find us there. I didn't introduce Doug. We went right into this. Doug, you have a show on Saturdays at 10. I felt bad. I missed your show this Saturday. I got to lose about 12:15 or something when I got my homework done or my honey-do list and some other stuff. But
we do what we do, and we'd probably do it if this didn't exist. But we do our Saturday show because we want to do a Saturday show. I'm actually surprised that there's so many more people willing to be participatory on a Monday than there are than on a Saturday. But hey, that's the way it is.
Right, that is the way. And now, like I said, when I do this, I do it I got people that actually download. I got people that watch later. I got the YouTube that actually, and some of it is just because, hey, we do stupid entertaining stuff here. So it's not all relevant to fantasy. We try, but it's not always. But Trey Turner being hurt, obviously that's a first round draft pick. I have Stanton in a league that's now down for, I'm hoping, only 3 weeks. Scooter Jeanette, what other injuries? I'm trying to think. Not that this is a baseball show here. And were you watching the game? You're the one who said it. I was watching the game when Trout got hit. At first it looked bad, but when they showed the replay over and over, it looked like it caught more knob of the bat than his finger. I do think it pinched him or got some meat, but it looked scarier than it ended up being. But
I didn't know Trout was injured.
No, Trout is not injured. He's played again, but I was watching the game where he got hit, with a fastball inside that, it, like I said, it hit the barrel. You know what I'm saying? The knob of the bat. He turned, his bat. It hit the knob and his hand, a combination. So, like I said, but hand injuries are nasty nowadays, and I don't know if there's some people make fun about these guys that wear all this armor. Should they be wearing armor on their fingers too? They've got elbow pads, leg things. They got and I'm not even saying I'm against it. I'm just curious at some point, if they're pitching inside, should your glove have some padding on it? Maybe. Now, did Turner hurt? You said he did it bunting. So obviously he also did it at bat. I don't know, and sliding, obviously, that seems to be a finger bender. Fingers are a big deal nowadays. Should they be more careful there, Doug?
No, they should be less careful.
I agree. There we go. It's again, until I played fantasy, I didn't care because I didn't care about anybody other than the Reds players.
It's one of those things where I don't know if you ever play. I know you play like in basketball. You play like in an adult basketball league.
Yeah.
Whenever you play at like the highest level, there's always this unwritten rule of like if you play in a manner that you're trying to avoid injury, you're going to get hurt. You got to play the game. You got to play the game the way the game is supposed to be played all the time. And in that world, the gods of the sport will watch over you and you'll stay healthy.
Okay, but my argument is, I guess not an argument. What I was kind of saying is this padding stuff making them seem, I guess my concern is all this padding they're wearing up at bat. Is it making them not get out of the way of balls they used to be able to get out of the way of? You know what I'm saying? They're getting in there with more confidence, or should they just have even more padding on?
I think that since they 4 or 5 years ago they threw in the 10-day DL. I think that there's just a cultural change in the way baseball is nowadays. If you went up to a guy who was playing in 1981 and said, hey, hey, Junior, you're going to get out of the lineup today. We're going to give you a day off. That guy would go, I don't want out of the lineup. Right.
Right.
Now people go into the thing going, the pitcher goes in the game going, I'm not going to pitch 9 innings. I'm going to pitch 6 innings. The guy goes, if somebody says, to the best hitters, like, yeah, I'm going to play 152 games this year. I know we play 162. So now when they say to some guy in August, hey, we need you to take 2 days off because we're a little worried about that blister.
Okay.
The guy just takes it off. I don't think it's I think it's a cultural thing. Like, we know nowadays that.
Is it cultural?
Well,
or is it financial?
I mean, they're paying all these guys.
Well, that's the point. Even the teams are understanding the value of a player now. So they're the ones that say you don't have a choice. You're not going to pitch You're not going to pitch your next spot because of that blister. Where in the past they would ask the pitcher, "Hey, what do you think?" And they'd let the pitcher. Now I don't think teams give players that option much anymore. That would be my thing. I don't put it on the players any more than I do.
Yeah, I think you're right. I imagine it's a little bit more of both than we might think. But you're right. If it's a star player,
which is why you won't see Cal Ripken's record ever broken, because if Cal Ripken was playing today, they'd sit him once in a while because he was an all-star. I mean, he was a player that they couldn't afford to lose at some point. Even though, I'd have to look back. I'm not sure. They were relevant a few times in his career, but it wasn't like the Baltimore Orioles were a 10 year in a row, number one team. But, you know what I'm saying? So I just don't think it'll happen anymore, because I don't think ownership will let those kind of players play every day, especially if they have small injuries. They don't want to become big injuries and become a financial burden.
And then you throw in the fact that they're going to change the rules. So next year, there's going to be 26 players on a roster,
right?
And only 13 of them could be pitchers. So there's going to be an additional position player to every team. You'll probably see it even less and less.
Right. My Reds lost. That sucks. The Reds just aren't hitting the ball yet, which again is back to, what we were saying earlier. I don't think you can make moves. Cha says he's listening to us in bed. I think he's leaving for vacation or going on vacation. I don't know what I thought we weren't going to see him all this week, and we've obviously seen him through Tuesday, and he was here now. So I think I saw where he's leaving early in the morning. So I hope he gets a good night's sleep, and I could sing him a lullaby or something. But and Cha, I got your trade, and you got my answer. I didn't waste much time. Cha offered me a trade. Same thing. I think it's a tad too early to be not that, I'm not saying it was, it wasn't a trade for me. I think Cha was I think he thought I was a Billy Hamilton guy from the Reds. So he thought I'd maybe want a little Billy Hamilton action. And I
made one trade offer to somebody. I think Darvish is going to be really good. He had a terrible first day. So
yeah, I have him in 2 leagues. I like Darvish myself.
So I threw out a trade for, hey, can I get Darvish from you from this guy? And I haven't heard back, but I was hoping that somebody would really. I watched that game, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with Darvish. It was uncharacteristically cold in Texas that day, and he couldn't.
Are you a Yahoo fantasy guy or not?
I'm a Yahoo fantasy guy. Yeah.
All right. Well, I can't bring it up here right now, but on ESPN, I know where to go to see, my logs of transactions, because I declined, me and Cha-Cha's in the league, JR's in the league, but I keep track of that kind of stuff. But I declined it with the app and thought, well, I'll go later to the website and I'll make some notes and blah, blah. Because, I'm the first guy to say, well, I like to jot who someone offered me, even though I didn't like to trade now. But, maybe next week things change, or I might offer somebody else for somebody. But I could not find that transaction that shows me the trade, even though I declined it.
I don't know if does that exist on ESPN though.
Yeah, on ESPN, I can, if you offer me a trade or offer you trade, it doesn't matter. Even if it's not accepted, I can go into my team log of transactions and see where I even turned down a trade or or where I made a trade that was turned down, that type thing. I could not find that on Yahoo, which
I don't think it exists on Yahoo.
well, that's stupid.
I didn't know it existed anywhere.
I literally needed to write it down before I deleted it, because now, now I have no way to, I kind of know what Cha-Cha was offering. I looked at it, did a few things, and then declined it. And I thought, okay, I'll go back later and I'll log some notes on it. And I could not find it. So that's the kind of shit that pisses me off on a website I've never been on or haven't played before. Well, I did Yahoo one of my first baseball leagues, so like 3 years ago. And then, now, those, unfortunately, tip of the day, just because one website has it, don't assume the other websites have it. I've learned that now more than once, and I still don't pay it. I didn't listen to my own advice. If you've never played on there before, don't assume it'll work a certain way.
Yeah, I actually had no idea that any site had that feature. I imagine that's all right.
Right. On ESPN, it's not. I can even say what to put in the log, meaning I can click. It'll say, do you want to see just trades? Yes. Do you want to see, players you dropped and picked up? Yes. It's just a way to everything I do shows up on a transaction log, including trades accepted and declined.
There is a transaction log, but it doesn't have declined trades in there.
Gosh dang. Cha-Cha, if you're out there, offer me that trade again so I can write it down before I decline it. There. Maybe Cha-Cha will make me feel better. But why? It's a computer. We're doing this shit on a computer, and they can't save that transaction to let me know later what I did and didn't do, so I can go back. You know what I'm saying? Do you not find that valuable to know what I've
never really thought about it. I'm not the heaviest trader in the world.
Okay.
And when somebody, I would say 9 times out of 10, when somebody offers me a trade, my gut reaction is, this guy thinks I'm an idiot. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't really care to remember it. Like, there's very rarely does somebody set up a trade in like the internalized system that's close.
Right.
Now, don't get me wrong, I'll do some trades and I'll do some pretty exception. But those trades start with a guy sending me an email going, "Hey Doug, I see you got a bunch of outfielders and I need an outfielder." Right? Like that's how it starts. And then there's like, well, all right, what are you offering? And then you wind up having this back and forth before you even get to that point. But man, it's when someone just puts in there, I'll trade you X for Y.
See, I've never done that. I have never, done what you just said. Meaning, I'm just going to look at your team, and I study most everybody's team a little bit. And I'm going to say, and first of all, I look at my team and go, man, I really need this, and I have too many of these. So I really look at somebody who has the opposite of what I have. So I'm like, hey, I have too many outfielders. This guy doesn't have enough outfielders. I need a second baseman. He has an extra second baseman. I'm going to try to work a deal with that guy. So I'm just immediately going to offer a trade. I'm not one of these. I don't lowball or try to steal somebody, but
I don't think people actually intend to lowball. But what happens is like,
no, I know some people have admitted to. Lou on our channel has admitted.
There are a handful, but I mean, the big thing is that if we were going to name 10 second basemen, right, I would rank them 1 through 10. And your ranking 1 through 10 would be different than mine.
Sure.
And so when you might offer me like the number 3 second baseman in your mind, but he's my number 7, so it just looks wrong.
Right. And he might be my number 4 because I think he's going to get me a few more steals and I need steals where you don't need any steals. So you might not calculate any steals or care.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I think more often than not, it's because you're just looking at the things, incorrectly. I would tell people at the beginning of the season, you should look at your offering based on what people drafted, because I always hate it when somebody goes up to me and says, they throw out a pick and go,
right,
hey, I see you have Julio Urias, right? I'm going to send you this guy for him. It's like, do you realize that I picked Julio Urias in front of that guy? You know what I mean?
Right. Now, sometimes I've done that even. I've gone all the way back to the draft just to get an idea and go, okay, yes, he did give up this, he picked this guy instead of this guy. But you know what?
The first 2, 3, 4 weeks, the draft is your best guide as to the idea of what's going on in the other guy's head.
Right. Now the argument
without having a conversation with him.
Now the argument against that would be sometimes the draft doesn't end up going the way we think. So I don't mean good or bad. I just mean at the end of the draft, you go, man, there was so many decent value at third base. I ended up with 3 of them, so I'm willing to drop one, I'm willing to trade one and maybe get somebody that, what I'm saying? I might trade him and actually get someone lower that I could have drafted instead. You know what I'm saying? You're willing to give up a little more. And Cha-Cha did post it. I was really kidding, Cha-Cha, that you actually posted it, but because
Hamilton, Ottavino, and Hicks for Gordon and Swaby. I'll assume that's Schwarber.
Yeah. No.
Which Gordon?
D Gordon. So he wanted my D Gordon, which I think D Gordon right now it could be better steals than Hamilton. I'll be real honest. I would have looked at that trade more if Hamilton was batting first or second or third. The fact he's already batting ninth, and I don't know if they're going to move him.
I actually think that Hamilton has more value batting ninth than he has batting first.
Maybe.
Right? I mean, well, he's in an American League team, right? Okay. So the difference between runs scored between being first and being ninth on an American League team is very minimal, provided he gets on base. He's gonna have the first, second, third people after him. But by batting ninth, the fact that he hits 220 is going to be much fewer at bats than if he batted first.
Right. So he's going to hurt.
The part that was a real killer about him was that no matter how many steals he got when he was batting first for the Reds, he would bat so many times with such a lousy average.
Right. He
would win you 6 points in stolen bases, but he'd lose you 8 points in average. So he was a losing player.
Right. And I actually bid on Hamilton in this league, to be honest. Hamilton, this was a snake draft. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think this was a snake draft, wasn't it, Cha-Cha? I'm almost positive it was.
I don't like the other parts of the draft. I mean, how important is it?
But I picked D Gordon. He's my steals guy. I mean, he's the guy I'm hoping for steals. He's actually, I think, already batting like 290. He's leading off. I don't know. I right now like D Gordon better than Hamilton.
D Gordon is one of my personal. I don't really like him fantasy wise that much, but he's one of my favorite players. I know the guy. I know, like, when he played his first baseball game, he played intramural baseball at Southeastern College where my brother was going. It's like I kind of know the grouping. I've always rooted for him from day one.
Right.
And so
and then the other thing is I also think this early in the season, I actually kind of like Hicks too, but Hicks already being hurt.
I don't get Hicks entirely. I think I think he's completely Yankees.
I know.
I don't understand why they gave him 7 years, $70 million. He doesn't seem to do anything spectacularly well on the outfield to deserve that kind of thing.
But again,
don't be wrong. He's probably a little better than Brett Gardner was.
Well, if he wasn't hurt, with Stanton being out, I even liked him more. The problem is in this league, I already have all 4 I already have my 4 DL spots used up with Scooter Gennett, Kyle Seager, Clayton Kershaw, and Kevin Gausman. So it's not like I can put Hicks and hide him somewhere. So that was a problem too. I'm not this early. I'm not taking an injury guy. I know some people will try to trade injury guys this time of year, hoping that someone will see a little more value there than they have. And I'll be real honest, Cha-Cha. Again, I've never really played in a baseball league with Cha-Cha. If I can get an injured guy at a value, I'm interested. But I'm not gonna reach for someone. I'll shoot a trade out sometimes to somebody, and I'll be willing to take an injured guy and give away an okay guy, hoping that injured guy comes back and becomes a great guy. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
He's saying it's not Hicks the outfielder. It's Hicks the
closer. You know what? I didn't even look at it that much. I really thought it was Hicks the outfielder, Cha-Cha, and I still didn't take it.
It changed a little bit because I could imagine this being a reasonable trade if you really needed a closer.
Yeah. Now, okay. I could use a closer, but I punted closing. This is head to head. And again, now I'm giving tricks of the thing away. I'm willing to lose saves every week as long as I win my 6 categories. You know what I'm saying? Meaning,
in head to head, I do the same thing. It's like ideally you'd be great at everything, but if you're in a league that's
head to head, you don't want to head to head. You don't want to be good at anything. You want to be great at 4, good at 2, and you can suck at 3. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying?
I'm saying is it's impossible to actually be great at everything. So you pick and choose what it is.
Right.
To me, it's part of the reason why I have this thing about the starting pitchers. Like, it's like if you sort of backpedal from the starting pitchers, you could draft a whole lot of really awesome everywhere else. And okay, you're really not competitive wins and strikeouts, but everything else you are. You know, that's not too bad.
I mean, I suck so bad. I have Willie Peralta, Cody Allen, and Zach Britton. Those are, those are not even the closers. Those are setup guys. So I got them. My goal with those 3 is to get me innings, get me 1 inning, get me 0 whip, 0 ERA, get me whip as low as possible, and keep going. I don't need the saves. I'm not going for saves. I mean, I'm just going to give me a low ERA.
Cody Allen's not the closer in Los Angeles. I didn't realize.
Oh, well, okay. Cody Allen. You know what? Now you say Cody Allen is the closer in Los Angeles. So he is. So he's my only real closer. Everyone else I have is the number 2 guy technically, and because my goal is, hey, there's a chance Zach Britton becomes the closer. Chapman got hit again. Chapman got hit tonight. If Chapman gets hurt or starts getting hit, I'll take Britton as a closer for the Yankees. So, it's like here, Willie Peralta, top of the 7th. He's pitching now actually, and he's got me 1K, 0 ERA, and WHIP 1.5. So I'll take that. Just like I said, I'm punting saves. So, because to me, saves change so quickly too. It's even like Hicks. Is Hicks going to be their closer all year, or is he just a closer right now?
I don't know. It seems he's like the guy everyone loves because he threw a pitch that was faster than Aroldis Chapman. He threw 100.
Nowadays, the guys can hit 100-mile-an-hour stuff because they see it more regularly.
No, but the other side is that he doesn't have as much movement on it as a lot of other people do, and there are people that throw. I remember when Garrett Cole came up with the Pirates. He was the starter throwing at 100 miles per hour fairly consistently, and he really wasn't that good because he didn't have enough movement on his fastball, and it was easier to hit. He actually took a little bit off his fastball and became a better pitcher, throwing at like 97, 98.
Right.
And then when he went to Houston, they figured out how to whatever Houston does to guys to make them really good. But there is such a thing as being just too straight. Like that Kelvin Herrera is a guy that hits 100 miles an hour, but doesn't have the kind of stuff that can be that is closer stuff because he doesn't have this. You would think a guy who throws as fast as Hicks does would have more swing and miss. That's
right.
What I'm trying to say.
Right.
He doesn't because I remember seeing this thing on like 30 for 30 about 6 years ago where like Adrian Beltre would like sit with the batting machine and he'd keep moving the batting machine closer and closer. And so like he'd have the batting machine like set at like 90 miles an hour, but it'd only be like 30 feet away from him. Right. And he could hit that. It's like you could hit speed you could get to. It's just a matter of timing. It just takes you a couple pitches to get that speed. It doesn't matter how fast they throw it. A good hitter can hit it. It's right. When the ball moves. It's when the ball changes location. It's when the ball changes velocity.
Well, again, that's always go back to, everyone says it was long ago, but I mean, Greg Maddux, it wasn't that long ago. Greg Maddux was one of the slowest pitchers we had, but he could put the ball in different locations and get it right where he wanted. So hello, Andrea. We do have Andrea joining us out there. Can you hear me okay?
The queen is here. She has arrived.
The queen. I love the attitude.
I am the queen. You better not forget it. I'm drinking apple martinis, bitches.
Okay,
where's Lewis?
Huh?
Lewis is gone?
No one's. It's only been me and Doug from the beginning.
Are you sure? Am I watching last week?
Yes.
Do I have last week video?
Yeah, I had to post this one. I put this one in the chat room. Cha Cha said that too. So
you have this really sucks for everybody.
That's okay. I did repost in the chat room this week's, but
okay, let me just fix it while I talk to you guys. So what's been going on? What are you talking about?
Well, we were talking about really nothing. We were talking about a trade that Chacha offered me. We were, and the main topic kind of was we were just talking about how much people are already talking and getting all, concerned about
Freaked
players
out.
this and that, and it's only been 4 games. It just cracks me up today, and yesterday's shows where everybody's saying things like teams have played 3 and 4 games. What there's not baseball's too long of a season to do a whole lot in 4 days.
Well, I think we just get so excited. You know what I mean? We get so excited, and because we're ready and we drafted, and now it's like, what do we do?
Like I told Doug, is there any? I mean, we'll even change it from 4 games, which I think most teams now have played 4, maybe 5, to let's say a whole week. Let's say 7 to 10 games. Is there one stat? I mean, what would a player have to do for his? For him really to change drastically in value. I mean, if someone
have to just get hurt, like out for the season.
Well, that's the opposite, right? Injury. I said that to Doug. Injury is always the key, but to me, I'm talking the other way. Meaning, if somebody had stolen, let's say in 4 or 5 games, someone already had 10 steals. That to me is a huge number and might make me go, okay, maybe I'll look at that guy, or maybe I'll pick that guy up, or maybe I'll trade for that guy. Other than steals in 4, I don't even think 4 home runs is enough for me right now, because someone can hit 4 home runs now and not hit 4 more for a month. But usually if you're going to steal 4 or 5 bases in 4 games, the odds are, unless you get hurt, that's going to continue.
What about Colton Wong? Okay, he's a good example. I totally went out and bought him, and I was laughing at Lenny about Colton Wong because he's been such a failure so far, but Lenny said he meditated all off season. Okay, he meditated, and I laughed at him, and we joke around about it on Sirius because he said a couple of things recently that were just too funny that we tease him about. Like, one, he said that the third baseman can't be too tall because then he can't bend over quick enough, and he can't get to the ball quick enough if he's too tall. So we joke around about that too, but I actually went out and picked up Colton Wong, even though I didn't believe a word that Lenny said all off season until look at him though. I mean, he's hitting home runs and he's getting RBIs and he's doing everything a fantasy owner wants you to do.
My question first, before you go any further, did you have to drop someone to get him, or did you have a spot because of DL?
Well, like I needed to replace Daniel Murphy.
Okay, see, that to me is a little different. Like I told Doug earlier, obviously, if I had to move a couple people to DL, so yes, I was able to pick up a player, a couple different players, but
I would have dropped a lot of guys for him. I wouldn't have dropped any I would drop my last couple picks, maybe. My
question is then, which my question would be, we're in week 1, so what changed other than the 4 games he's played? So why didn't you draft him?
I didn't draft him because I didn't believe that he would be performing the way that he is, and that he did in the spring, and that Lenny told me he was going to do a couple months ago. I think that Lenny's opinion does matter to me in this case, because normally I wouldn't even believe it that much. I mean, Matt Davidson last year, he hit 4 home runs in like a couple games.
He had a great start, but that didn't hang. I mean, what makes you think that Colton Wong's 9 for 18 start is going to stick around versus other guys out there that are having blistering starts like Tim Beckham?
Well, okay, so I will tell you that again, like Lenny was talking about, he was reading about Colton Wong during the winter time, talking about how he was working on this and how he was going to start stealing bases, that he was a number 1 draft pick in 2008, I think it is, or whatever. It was quite a while ago, but he said that he had talked to his coach and he was going to be stealing more bases and he was going to be just whatever he said. Like, that's one part of it.
Have you ever read a story about someone talking to their coach saying like they're going to work on ways to hit less or steal fewer bases?
I was thinking the same thing. I know what Henry is saying, but no one told you.
You would have to go back and listen to the Lenny's podcast, because honestly, I totally brushed him off. I was like, whatever, dude, Colton Wong sucks. He's 28 years old, and if he would have said Colton Wong is going to be somebody, my reaction would have been, he sucks. That's it.
I think that, like, I mean, I remember Lenny went through a bit of a funk last year because he came in much further down in the standings than he wishes he would have.
Yeah.
And I think that there is a sort of a change in the way baseball is running, that some of us older fellows are slower. Like we're slower to jump on the new thing because we've seen the new thing peter out 95 times out of 100. And you kind of, I think that the game of baseball has changed in such a way that you kind of have to be open to jumping on a Colton Wong,
Yeah, you do.
or a Tim Beckham, or a Ryan Healy.
Okay, how about this?
You drop. You do have to be careful of who you drop, because you could be dropping the guy that in the long run could be better than him. I mean, so you do have to be careful, though.
Every year you're going to drop a guy and you're going to be like, why the hell did I do that? Like, what was I thinking that when I dropped that guy? And you were just annoyed or sick and tired of waiting, or you found somebody else that you thought.
Okay, but not after 4 games. That's
no, not at all.
You're talking after 4 games.
Dougie brought up 2 other players that are in. I really feel like they should be involved in this conversation too, and Tim Beckham and Ryan Healy. And I think with all 3 of these guys, they've never had a full season of at bats. Then, you know, Wilmer Flores, same thing. It's like you don't really know what they could do if they actually had got into a groove, and just they were the starting. They knew where they were going to be every day when they came to work. And like Colton Wong is a great defender, so I knew that his defense is going to keep his bat in the lineup because he's that good. And Lenny reads the newspapers every day, so he kept telling me, he kept talking about Colton Wong. I know you guys have heard him mention Colton Wong so many times.
Yeah.
Like in all sincerity, too. Like he really believes that this guy is going to finally work. So I would say that believing in a guy like Colton Wong or Tim Beckham or Ryan Healy, all 3 of these guys could be breakout players, that I think I would have more faith in all 3 of those guys than I would in a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. or Eloy or Fernando Tatis, because I just... the unknown with them, the youth, these guys have been around for a while, and just because they haven't broken out.
The one thing of those guys, like Guerrero and Tatis, have never sucked for you. You have that history with Long and Beckham, and I don't know if Healy has, but
yeah. So like you're already you're bitter towards them. Is that what you're saying? It's harder to like it.
No, there's like there's the world of possibilities that they could give you, and some of those possibilities are really, really good. And some of those are suck, right? And,
right.
And we've already gotten the suck from these guys before, which makes the suck more likely, I think, than with somebody that we've never seen the other side. Occasionally, players come in and never really have a terrible year. But
I mean,
Beckham's been bad. Wong has been bad. They've been bad players. Don't be wrong, I still believe that they're worth the flyer this early in the season, and if you're taking him to replace somebody who's already injured, it makes perfect sense. But I mean,
Beckham hasn't been that bad. He had 22 home runs in 2017, and
that was 1 year. He had the year that
it was the only year that he ever had full-time at bats. Though
he was given ample opportunity to get full-time at bats in Tampa, and he always played himself out of it. You look at the end of the year and say, oh, we only wound up with 270 or 317 at bats, but it's because he was literally, when he was given the opportunity, he was hitting 222 with like a 27% strikeout rate.
Okay, is it possible to say that this change of scenery is?
Oh, I think that when he went to Baltimore, there was a big thing, and to be fair, I was actually drafting Beckham because I thought that he might be a guy that's a candidate for one of these breakout things.
Dude, this guy's batting average on balls in play right now is .471.
Well,
but it's 4 games, Andrea. That's
I know.
Right.
No, it's what I call
because Andrea, during the season, everyone has that over 4 games. That's the problem.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do. If you can take any player pretty much and find 4 games and say, "Oh man, he was awesome." Those 4 games. I mean,
right? Yes, absolutely.
You're making a judgment on that it's the first 4 games.
Well, what I'm saying is that he's getting very lucky. That's what you can tell by batting average on balls in play, is that if it's that high, that means that he's getting really lucky right now. It's not really skill. So whatever it is, he's hitting bombs too. I'm happy for him. I would own him until
And I'm saying, I think you did the right thing. If I had DL spots, those are the kind of people I want to pick up. I want to pick up a guy like that because if things go south, I could drop him too. You know, I mean that. So I like both. If he takes off, you got a good player. If he doesn't, you can drop him. I just would struggle picking up someone like Colton for my team and dropping somebody that I committed in the draft at this point. Not after 4 games. I'm not dropping somebody I drafted at this point.
So I fucking won DraftKings, dude. I won a contest.
Or yesterday.
2 days in a row I won, and they were both 50-50 bullshit. And I can never come in at anything. I cannot come in these biggies. I want to just win one time. I always only play single entry because I don't, I mean, I want to have just as much of a chance as everybody else has,
Right. Well, I think that's the smart move.
But I come in fucking 2000th and shit. I come in like
where you don't even win 5 cents or whatever.
Right. I mean, yeah, you pretty much just.
It does suck. I agree.
I got Chris Sale, dude. What's he? Okay, I'm only in the bottom and the top of the 3rd inning. Why is this? Why is it so late?
Usually DraftKings stays pretty quick and pretty up to date. At least
maybe I need to refresh my page.
Well, now that
is it the bottom of the 3rd? And it might be in Seattle.
Let me look.
Yeah, it's they're at Oakland, Boston.
Look at me. I'm only in the top of the 3rd in all my games, except for stupid Michael Conforto got me 7 points. That's it. But I'm rolling with Chris Sale and Marco Gonzalez.
Why don't I see what all games are playing right now in baseball? What
it says the top of the 3rd.
Yeah, I actually don't even have 3rd. The 2nd inning just ended.
Phillies. It does say end of 2nd on my ESPN. It just says Boston 0, Oakland 1, end of the 2nd. That's what ESPN has right now.
Oh, but I did do a 50-50 with look, Jonathan Danger Cole, that guy, Lewis is in it, and Beerman and Southpaw. Okay. I'm in 2nd.
So how many people from the chat room got in it? I know the night before it was just you and Cha-Cha.
Yes. So I put the invite up in Facebook groups, in our Facebook groups, because we have like 1,000 people in each group.
Okay.
And nobody joined it except for me and Cha-Cha. And Cha-Cha got it from the chat room. So today I put it in the chat room and it filled up with people from the chat room. It was 6 people. I only made it for 6 people.
You did one to start the year, and I actually went into it, but while I was trying to set a lineup, it filled.
Oh, well,
where are you doing it at? DraftKings?
Yeah, do you play there?
I don't really play, but as I said, I have a little bit of money at almost every site left over. And if someone were to say to me, "Hey, Doug, we're doing a game this Sunday," I would probably join for a day. I'll
have to look and see what I have in DraftKings or make a deposit. And
yes, it's fun. It's very much fun.
Okay, you say fun. I get frustrated and pissed off, and
I think if you could play in a league with just people those are going to be fun.
They'll be more fun. But the problem is I spend all day thinking about it and putting in a lot of time and all that. And even if it's a 50-50, even you double up, you make, I don't know how much are you playing for, $1?
Dude, you got to play the $3 fucking $20,000 one where there's like 20,000 people and it's a single entry only. And because you got to make sure you play single entry only. You understand?
I know that from football. Okay. Me.
So do that, and I always put a couple bucks on one of those big ones just in case one day I just happen to get it right. And then I go to RotoWire and I use their lineup optimizer they make you pick 2 players, and then they give you an optimized lineup after the 2 players that you pick. But I don't ever go with it. I go with a couple players on there, but I usually find another guy that I like better, and I substitute it. That's just how I do it. But I mean,
and that's why I don't do it much, because I don't know that's the way to do it. I don't know.
Whatever. That's how I like to do it. And so that's what I do. But I also like to play the 50-50 so that I can make the money that I need to get into those big contests that I never fucking win.
That is true. That's what they say.
But why am I coming in the 50-50? There's 375 people. I come in first place. I get the same amount that everybody gets.
Well, that's what 50-50 is.
And that's the way it works.
It sucks for the guy that comes in first. And that's just all there is to it. But if you come in 50th, it's good.
But it's great, right? It's great if you come in 78th or whatever that.
Yeah, or like half.
In football, I've done that before. I'm like, oh my God, it's a 50-50 with 500 people, and I'm like, I'm in 248th.
You're so happy about it.
Yeah, you're like, yes, I just doubled my money, and it makes it fun,
right? Because I think the breakoff point has to be right. It's got to be like 1st through 5th, where you would probably get paid. And those big contests, they pay like 5,000 to the first place guy and a couple thousand to second place. You know, I'm like, I'd be cool with just like 500 bucks.
Well, again, I've been listening to, and I'm kind of a little, you know, the 11:30 first sip show. I was a little mad. I enjoyed listening to them, and they were getting me more and more excited to play some DFS. Is it Cam that does a lot of DFS now? I listen to him, but maybe we need to have a round table that we really just discuss basic DFS and some strategies, and maybe set up a lineup or two. Just I still, unfortunately, to me, I know if I do a lineup tomorrow, it's just going to be by guessing. You know, I mean, yeah, I know players maybe more than the average guy, but not more than other. If you're playing DraftKings, you obviously know players. So I'm not sure I know them any more than, than anyone else.
When I first played, I went to MLB because at MLB, you can see the preview of the game. You could see every batter. You could see the matchup against the pitcher, the opposing pitcher.
Right.
And it just kind of helps you
also
see.
need to check weather. There's a lot of things you need to pay.
I know. You got to check fucking weather now.
I hate the weather right now. It sucks when you're setting your lineups, and especially in the one league. You know, some leagues you can set your lineup, you can change a guy out as long as his game hasn't started.
Yes, in football.
Other league, no, even in baseball. I play in a league where you can set that you can change your guy out. It's when his game starts.
Yeah, most of the leagues.
And I also play in leagues where
ESPN.
The minute the first game starts, you can't change anything anymore.
And then ESPN and CBS, they both do that.
So I mean, for DFS, I believe DraftKings goes when the game starts and the other one, FanDuel, is when the first game starts.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I got it. So they do it two different ways.
Well, at DraftKings, you definitely can change your players around until their game starts.
Yeah. Right. I do think he's right, because I know in football they switch. You know, in football, one does it where you can't change your lineup after the first game starts, and then the other one does it where, yes, as long as your guy hasn't started, you can sub him in, but you obviously can only sub him out for someone who hasn't played either. You know.
Yeah, and sometimes it gets really down to the wire, and you're like, "Fuck, I got to switch this guy out, and I have nobody to replace the bitch with."
Right. I agree. And my problem is that I just get too addicted to it. And then I end up spending too much time paying attention to my DFS. And then I forget about my daily or my season long. And then I blah, blah, blah. And then the next thing you know, I'm spending, 3 days of time trying to put a lineup in to win, $5 at a 50-50.
Did you guys hear the podcast yesterday, me and that guy?
No, sorry.
No, I do basketball. Last night was my last basketball night. So
The Athletic, the website, they put out a poll. This is the second year that they did it. This is the second year that they've been around, but they have all their beat writers ask the players a bunch of questions.
What's up, homies?
Hi, Dan.
Hey, Dan. What's up?
Working.
Glad to have you.
So what did they ask, Andrea?
Dan was here for the show. He listened. It was just, they asked all kinds of shit. Like who would be the best manager that you would like to play for? Who would be the least favorite manager that you would like to play for? What's your favorite city to visit? Who's the most overrated player in the game and shit like that? It's pretty good.
So it's in now. I'm
going to send you guys the link in the chat room.
The Athletic pay. Do you have to pay? Is it got a paywall? Okay.
Yeah, but I'm about to post. I copied it and put it onto a Google Doc, so I'm pasting it in the chat room.
Is it The Athletic or what's the actual website?
It is The Athletic.
And I'm typing on the wrong.
It's good. It's very good.
I've had a couple of people tell me that it's actually a pretty good site.
It's very good. They basically stole all the best writers in sports,
it's a good idea. You can get some pretty good quality. It's something I would consider paying for.
It's very worth every penny because.
So it's $10 a month.
Well, no, it's like $50 for the year. You pay up front.
Right. Monthly, it's $9.99.
I'll give you my password. You could get in there and look at it. But I'll tell you right now, for me and for Lenny, because of what we do, and it's just got such good information. I don't know if I would pay for it if I was like on my own. I just don't know if I would pay for it, but it's very much worth it. Like, it's great shit. I'll share my fucking password and stuff with you and you can look at it.
I don't mind. It says you get a free trial. It doesn't say how long it lasts. Oh
yeah, go ahead, try it out.
But get a free trial, and then I don't mind it. Unfortunately, some of these you join, and after you get excited for the first 2 or 3 weeks, and then later on you realize, you know what, I see that same information on 18 people's tweets, or I see that.
Here's what it is. I mean, if you're interested in this type of writing, it's really deep articles. Every article is like probably 1,000 words or more. It's 8 or 9 pages of just like deep delving. It's like lots of one-on-one with players and insight. But if you're just looking for like statistics and fantasy stuff, it's really, they do have a fantasy section, which I found very helpful, but for the most part it's more like the Players Tribune.
All right. I mean, I'm who's the one podcaster that the All In kid, he used to be on FNTSY. I think he's with the Athletic now, right? Because I listened to his podcast.
Jake Seeley.
Yeah. Jake Seeley.
He is there.
So
obviously, Sarah's moved to that. The idea is that for a long time, fantasy has been run by advertisement, and you get weird stuff that happens. People like have to kowtow to gambling and DFS and stuff. This is going. They're trying to do a subscription-based version where you everybody pays $10 in, and they pay all these guys to do it.
Advertising.
They're paying I could tell you right now that shit. They're paying a ton of money to these writers because Ken Rosenthal is who started it. And they have all the best writers. They took them from every single good newspaper, everywhere. They just went and plucked all the best out. And it really is the best writers, because I could never write this well. They just have such good, deep interview. I don't know. I wish I could write that good. But God, what was I going to say? I totally interrupted you to say something.
I don't know.
I don't even know what it is at this point.
Well, just Dan, how are you doing tonight?
Yeah, Dan, what's up?
A subscriber based system gets better programming than a advertising based one. That's all I was going to say.
What do you mean advertising based? Like, so they put commercials on and stuff, and that's how they get their revenue?
Well, you sit there and you go like there's all these great TV shows that are on HBO and on Netflix.
Okay, right, yeah.
Versus what's on NBC.
Mm-hmm.
Right now in London, there's 11 newspapers that come out every week on Sunday, because they get paid by subscription, and they're very good newspapers.
Right.
In America, newspapers live and die by their advertisement, and their papers aren't as good as they once were.
Right. And they're biased as shit.
Is like when you're a subscription based system, you have to be good enough that somebody wants to opt into that thing.
Hey, Easy Kill.
Let me ask this question, because
Easy Kill.
What?
Did you know that I don't know why they said this, because I loved Cincinnati when I went there, dude. But the players poll, dude, that we're about to talk about and shit, they said that the least favorite city that they like to go to is Cincinnati.
I mean,
that's not right.
I guess it depends on what they're doing. I mean, Cincinnati's not a big party town. I mean, obviously there's places.
It's beautiful right there. They have to stay in the city in one of those beautiful hotels that has windows all around. It's right across the street from the football, right across the river.
The party and stuff, though, is across the river a lot of times.
They're not going there to party, dude. They're going there to fucking play baseball.
But I also, you think that.
That's what they do when they're in town. They're there to play.
They go places and hang out. It would be crazy if you think they don't.
Well, the best place was Chicago, and it was because of the food. So I guess they go somewhere.
Well, I know they do. I mean, I have been in Cincinnati. There's a couple big, fancy, expensive steakhouses in Cincinnati that if you're there at midnight after a game, there are players from both teams,
out.
Chris Collinsworth owns, there's like 3 of them that own it, but I'm trying to think of the name of it.
So when we went to Cincinnati, we fucking loved it. Okay. We sat outside first, that sports bar right across the street from this ballpark, that sports bar that's right there.
Right. The one that's like at the country one. Tim McGraw owns one of those.
It's kind of country, very country. But first we started at the restaurant on the opposite end of the little, there's like that one sidewalk, and it's got like 4 or 5 places. And we started at the one of the furthest end from the country bar, and we had calamari and sushi and shit. And we sat outside and we loved it. And then we walked down to the sports bar and we drank. I drank. Lenny doesn't drink, but I drank the whole time. Martinis. I went to Cincinnati, had 2 chili dogs at the ballpark. I had one of those cheeseburgers that you guys have. That's like Bob's Big Boy cheeseburger, dude.
Big Boy.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
What's the fucking hamburger place at the
Frisch's? It's called Frisch's.
Well, it's bomb.
I know. But
yes.
Now that being, but also the ones you just named, The players aren't going there. The players are going on the river, and again, that's what I'm saying. There's places. I think it's called the precinct. Now that I think about it, but
we stayed in the city, right across the river.
Right, I know.
But let me tell you, it's beautiful there. The people are very nice, and there's people downtown getting their drink on and stuff. If that's what they want.
Been downtown Cincinnati many times.
Let me tell you about some crappy places to go. Oakland, fucking. How about this? Oakland.
Baltimore?
How about south side of Chicago?
Hi, Andrea. I'm gonna stop you right there because Oakland's a wonderful city.
I do like their ballpark actually, but it's not the greatest place to be at night. Like it's not the best. I could imagine a player not liking it. Can't you?
Okay, so Oakland has its parts you don't want to be in, obviously, but there's so many nice parts of that city.
Right, but if you're a baseball player and you're going around to the cities and you're like, this is where we're spending the night in the hotel next to the ballpark, and Oakland is not. They don't even have any hotels.
So they don't stay there. They all stay in San Francisco. My buddy used to be assistant clubhouse manager for the A's for all the visiting players.
Yeah, right. They're staying at good motels, regardless of not.
Yeah, but San Francisco and Oakland are 20 minutes apart.
Right, but that's okay. In LA, you're fucking in Beverly Hills on one side of the street, and you're in fucking Box Compton, LA, on the other side of the street. So that's just, but nobody's staying in Oakland. That means that nobody likes Oakland.
Yeah,
they're driving to San Francisco.
The thing is, though, Andrew, you're saying that the way the town is, though, based on around how baseball fits.
Like if I was a player, I probably wouldn't say Cincinnati is the worst place to go. But that's what it was. 20% of the people said that.
I just can't imagine there's a huge nightlife in Cincinnati or a place like maybe even Milwaukee. When you've got cities like Boston, New York, Chicago, San Francisco, all these great cities you can go to.
The nightlife in Cincinnati is not there. Sunday through Thursday. It's not that kind of town.
So, what did you think about the poll last night, Dan? You were here listening. Which one of those questions?
I thought it was all very interesting. I liked it a lot. I especially like some of the player comments. I thought they were pretty funny.
The player comments are excellent.
Now, how many, was it all the players or a percentage of players, or who did they actually ask?
Wasn't it just anonymous players? Is that the way I understood it when you were reading it, correct?
So they had their beat writers ask as many players as they could. About a third of the league overall is what they said, including players from all 30 teams about a wide range of topics. And it says we covered the best players in the game, managers they would and would not play for, their feelings on the current labor situation, and more, from silly to serious. But before we get to the answers, note that these results are not entirely scientific. We divided the questions below into two sets in order to cover as much ground as possible. Some players answered every question, others answered only one set. And even when granted anonymity, some players declined to discuss a few of the more controversial topics. So the players who did answer had a bigger say in the results. We have a much broader selection of players than we did last season. They're covering all 30 teams, but we were still able to get more players from some teams than from others. It was interesting when they asked if the DH should be in both leagues. The people from the NL, the players in the NL, they really adamantly did not want the DH to come over to their league, which was interesting. And about half of the AL people wanted the DH to go to the NL too.
That's interesting. I would have thought it would have been. I'm an anti-DH person, but in discussions about DH, it seems like more and more people are just going, just do it, just do it. I would have been. I'm kind of.
Well, my argument against that, though, did they ask the opposite question? Did they ask, would you guys want the American League to do away with it? See, that's the problem.
One guy said that. One of the players did say that.
Yeah, they never asked that question, though.
I like having it in both leagues.
They didn't answer, but you could tell in that question that the people that answered for the DH in both leagues, they were pretty much more. I don't know. They said that, everybody wants it. The only reason one thing that was interesting is that one of the players said that it would have already happened by now if it wasn't such a negotiating chip.
Well, that's true.
What are they negotiating? What are they using it to negotiate? I really want to know about that.
We may never know.
Well, no, the theory is that if the DH was in the NL, then it would be one more high payroll slot in a National League team.
Oh, well, the National League players, they don't want that. One guy said that, and it was probably a utility player, but he said that he feels like if the DH came to the National League, that it would really hurt the utility player.
Yeah, I mean it would because
I don't know how.
My problem with that is, yes, it hurts the utility player, but you now have a high-paid batter that gets to play longer and get paid more. So I
So
think
it's taking money out of the pot.
everything I have heard is that it's going to cost more money in the long run because a DH spot gets paid more than a utility guy,
generally speaking.
So it takes money out of the pot.
Well,
but it doesn't make the utility guy less valuable because every team needs a utility guy, and the DH guy, that's all he does.
Well, the difference is that you don't have you're not pinch hitting for the pitcher anymore, so you don't have that guy come in to play at second, get shifted over to play short.
You still have that guy on your bench. I'm sorry, but everybody does.
You have him on your bench, but he's going to play less.
Why is he going to play less? There's a spot for a DH in the lineup, and there's a spot for a utility guy if somebody's hurt.
You're talking in fantasy. I think Dan.
No, I'm talking about in real life.
I'm talking in real life because
me too.
Because you're not going to have what happens is when you have a pinch hitter, you put somebody up to bat, and then they have to make a decision: is he going into the field or is he not? And that's generally what triggers that thing. Occasionally, you get people coming in for defensive purposes in the ninth inning or so.
But what is adding a DH? The only person that doesn't have to hit anymore, or the person that loses batting, is the pitcher. Nobody else loses playing time. It's
when the sixth inning comes around and your team doesn't pinch hit for the pitcher, that's one less at bat for the backup. That's
a pinch hit. The pinch hitter is not the same as the utility guy. The utility guy is used for his defensive skills as well as his maybe offensive skills, but mostly for his defensive eligibility.
Well, utility guy does a number of things, and that's one of the things he does is he pinch hits and he comes into play afterwards because theoretically, a lot of the starters in baseball don't have the greatest defensive skills, even though they might be better offensively.
Do you think that it's less likely for a National League team to have a utility guy than it is for an American League team to have a utility guy that gets like a Josh Harrison or somebody like that?
I think that the odds on either of them having it are about the same. But as far as a utility guy getting the meaningful at bats without an injury, it's a little more likely in the National League.
Why? Because he pinch hits?
Well, I mean, we're talking about getting to 250 to 300 at bats because
I see what you mean, though. I think I just got that idea, that side of it. I think I got it.
It's not a lot. It's like literally one more at bat per day, but that's still one at bat. And even if it only happens every fourth day, you get to that point.
So, do you think they pay American League utility guys less money than they pay the National League utility guys?
No, I think they get paid.
No, I don't think money's the issue here.
But you said
the utility guys are still going to get paid the same. I don't care.
Are they still going to be used the same?
I think that
like Dan said, they'll be used a little less because you don't have to worry about that double switch maybe or doing something like that because you don't have to worry about the pitcher coming up in the next inning or 2 innings later. You're going to not put a utility guy in the fifth, because you don't need to.
If you see yourself as a utility player, like a Daniel Descalso was, you're going to come up in free agency and there's going to be 5 teams offering you a contract, and they're all going to offer you about the same amount of money because they got that algorithm that makes sure that that guy is going to choose to play for a National League team over an American League team if give it all of their bases. That's the way I see it.
Really? So, okay, but I don't know.
Because the thing is, when a DH becomes a free agent, he's going to get offered a lot more money than a utility guy. I mean, that's the thing. And a guy who,
I don't know. Is that true?
Yeah.
What did Nelson Cruz get? He got $10 million a year being
fucking Nelly Cruz, dude, has hit more bombs than anybody in baseball for the last 5 years.
He's still 39 years old, which is enough for the owners to.
Has he hit more than Chris Davis? I thought Chris Davis had.
No, he has not hit. No, Chris Davis wasn't even around when Nelly Cruz was hitting 40 bombs.
Well, you're saying for 5 years he's been around, though.
Well, I'll tell you that
I'm not saying Nelly
Cruz has the most home runs in baseball over the last 5 years.
I don't doubt this. I love that guy.
A starting DH is always going to get paid more in a contract than a utility player.
And a backup player.
Okay, but think about this, though. Okay, a guy now, and what we have going on right now is that the teams own you until you're about 30 years old, for the most part. Most players, they own you until you're 30. So when a guy is 30 now, think about a guy that's only DH, and he's on the free market, like he's available. And there's a guy like Josh Harrison or Marwin Gonzalez available. As an owner of a real team and the manager, you would likely choose the guy Marwin Gonzalez over the.
If a person was actually good enough as a hitter to command real free agent money as an only DH, he would probably get more money than the Marwin Gonzalez's. So I could see the owners going for Marwin because not only do you get multiple positional possibilities, but you also get a cheaper deal. If it really
let's look at it from this year. What did Marwin get versus what did Nelly Cruz get? Because they were both in free agency this year. I believe Cruz got more, right?
I could tell you because I'm looking at Cruz now.
I'm almost positive.
There are very few people.
14.3 million.
Yeah, I know. I know Cruz got what Marwin only got 1 year in free agency, didn't he?
So
I don't know.
For the last 3 years, Chris Davis has hit 42 or more bombs. Okay.
Yes.
And look at Nelly Cruz. This guy, unbelievable, dude. For the since 2014, he's had 40, 44, 43, 39, and 37.
But
in Seattle, which has been crazy.
Left. He's like,
well, Chris Davis is definitely going to be right up there with Nelly Cruz.
Davis, that's 2, but can you really get to 5? I don't think there's that many of them left anymore.
Well, there was Big Poppy, and that's it.
He's gone.
He's the only one I know because I love him. Encarnacion, he might be one.
He's close, yeah.
He's actually had most home runs. He might have more home runs.
The argument was if the NL does it, that it's going to double. I mean, there's going to be more players that are going to be just DHs and are going to get paid well. So,
One guy said, "Just forget about it all over the place." How about if the American League takes the National League rules on? That's what they said.
I would have no problem.
It at all.
I mean, I'm just a person that believes it needs to be the same in both.
For the second year in a row, Joe Madden got the manager that they would most like to play for, and nearly got the manager that they would least likely to play for, and it was only by a little percentage. So last year he definitely got the one that the players would most like to play for, but he came really close to getting the one that they would least like to play for, and this year was the same exact thing. So what isn't that interesting that
Okay, you're saying interesting. I say who cares?
Why?
I don't care. Why do I? Because I don't care who wants to play for my manager as long as my manager.
How about this, Easy Kill? Trevor Bauer started a media company, and you know that he is trying to do basically baseball from players' perspective. So like getting in to know the players, because he feels the same way as you do, that the younger generations are not becoming real fans because nobody's really giving them insight to players. Like Mike Trout could walk down the street and people don't even know who Mike Trout is, like that kind of thing. They don't do enough. They don't do enough promotion of the players. Do you agree?
Andrew, did you listen to my show last night?
My argument to that is I'll go back to football. Because people say football is better, but football, most football fans couldn't pick out a football player either if he's walking down or he's in the bar or in a room that you're in, other than physical size.
Unless it was a quarterback, because we all know what the quarterback.
And that's because they wear helmets. And they're not supposed to take them off during the game.
Most people know 25 baseball players to a point versus, and I think you're wrong. I bet half the quarterbacks could be in a room that you're in, Andrea, and you would know who they are.
The quarterbacks, yes, I would. But football does a better job of getting fans because they.
No, football gets better at getting fans because the game is different. Their players are no more popular. They're not allowed to take their helmet off during the game. They're not allowed to do, they've kept, football's kind of, if anything, kept a thumb on them as far as becoming, personalities during a game. It's just that, I'm sorry, the game.
You're right.
Draws more attention for the younger kids because, and people can say this whole thing. I think if we just hold on, I still think if we weigh game to game, it's not as different as we want to say it. Unfortunately, we don't want to measure the season and how the whole game measures. I'm telling you, my kids who are football fans and a little bit of baseball. I mean, my son even plays softball with me, but football, I'm sorry, that I'll say one day, even though they play Thursday, Sunday, and Monday, you know what I'm saying? It's that one game a week where it's, a win or die situation. It's, we only play 16 games, so we have to win. It's It's that
every game counts.
We can sit down and watch every game today. You know, we're going to watch 12 games and we're going to know things today. I think that has much more to do with it than us trying to change the physical game. Meaning, if baseball was just played on Sundays, and every team, and they only played 25 games, and it was a sudden death type situation, people would watch. I mean, but we know that Sunday game didn't matter. We know there'll be a Monday game. We know, and these kids know that, so they're not wrapped up into it.
I'm going to disagree with you, Easy.
That Sunday is an event during football.
But look at the NBA.
The second thing, one more thing that I don't think anyone ever talks about. I'm sorry. The weather for young people makes a difference. I'm sorry. During baseball season, there's a lot more weather where they can do other things. During football season, you have all the games on one day. The games are action-packed, and they're happening, especially in most cities. I know Dan lives, there's places where it's nice, but most of us are living somewhere on Sunday. It's 30 degrees and we can't do anything anyway. You know, so you also have that locked in audience that isn't going to go out of their house because there's 2 foot of snow outside. You know, where in baseball, it's 85 degrees and nice. I'm going to the pool. I'm going to drink beer in my back deck. You know, my point is we're trying to fix baseball, but I don't think the games, if we take game to game and there's, you know, the games are very similar, in my opinion. I just don't think we look at the other parts of the game, which is you know, there's just more games in baseball. The weather situation is different. And I think that plays into why young kids aren't watching it as much.
But here's the thing, though. They just did a study on this, and they found out that it's not true, that the fans of baseball are strong as younger people, because there's this show on Sirius called Saber. It's called Behind the Numbers, and it's from the sabermetrics community or whatever, and the guy that does it is really smart. Anyway, there was a big study put out at one of the colleges recently that said that the people that love baseball are from the millennial generation and from Generation Z, because they were able to actually see they had MLB TV, which came out in like 2002. And so ever since then, they've been able to watch the East Coast. I never had MLB TV when I was on the West Coast. You don't get it, right, Dan?
I get MLB TV, and
Dan?
Andrew, this is one of the topics on my. Can you guys not hear me?
Hello, working.
Can you guys hear me?
Is.
Hello.
But Andrea,
can you guys not hear me?
With you.
Oh, he's smoking weed.
When I had Brody on a couple weeks ago, you know, Brody's 22-ish.
Can you guys hear me?
You know, the difference is, I watch a lot more baseball than Brody, but Brody will go to 10 Cincinnati games a year. He loves going to the games, but he'll even admit, I hardly ever watch him when I'm at home. He likes going to a game, where I'm the opposite. I'd much rather sit at home, watch 5 games, drink my own beer, you know? So I might go to 1, maybe 2 Reds games a year, and he's going to 10, but he's a different kind of fan than me. And I noticed that's with a lot of kids. It's my son, you know, same age, you know, he's much more willing. If you said, hey, you want to go to that Reds game, watch a game? Yes. If I say, you want to sit here and watch a game with me? Nope. You know,
well, nobody wants to watch a game. You think Lenny and I sit and fucking watch games all day? Dude, you're kidding me. We never stay. We've been to all these ballparks. We've never one time stayed until the game ended. We did in Cincinnati because they had fireworks. But usually we do not stay until the end of the game. We just aren't. But we love baseball. But it takes just like there's with gambling. There's 2 different types of people: people that like to gamble and people that like to play baseball. There's a middle point, yes, but these are 2 different types of people, and the reasons that they play DFS. And it goes the same for football fans and baseball fans. You have to be ADD kids, they love football. Everybody with ADD, they can all love football. Nobody has to think very hard. But baseball, it takes like commitment and interest, and you have to really want to know more than just that kind of thing. So I think there's different types of personalities here.
Can you guys hear me?
Now.
Yes, Dan.
You can hear me now.
Yes,
I was
Dan.
trying to talk for like the last 10 minutes. I don't know if Easy had me muted or what, but
No,
I thought
it was me. I talk louder than you, so I get to have. That's how you win. In
No,
this
but
game.
I was trying to talk. I was waving and screaming my voice, and it wouldn't.
Yeah, but
no one was.
Yeah,
sorry.
We didn't hear any of it.
I'll be quiet.
Really? Yeah, it's funny because Andrew, I was going to tell you that was a topic of my show yesterday. Was that report that Vince Gennaro was talking about with the kids and stuff? So I definitely had some. Yeah, it was one of the things I talked about in the show because I thought it was so relevant to all the talking we've done. I gave him credit for it, and I quoted people on the article. And yeah, it was a very interesting report, with the Gen Z fans, and Easy. I wanted to comment on Easy's point too, and I don't know if you guys can hear me either. But the point about. Dude, God, it's so crazy. I'm trying to talk and trying to talk. I'm like, what is going on?
You were like, I've been there, dude. I know
exactly. And what's weird is I thought you just were kind of talking over me, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna give them their chance to finish, and then I kept trying to talk, and no one was listening to me. I'm like, what is going on?
That's so funny, dude. Okay, we hear you now, dude. You've been listening the whole time. Okay.
No, but Easy, you were making the point about the NBA with the long schedules, and I was going to tell you, the NBA, they're the best about promoting themselves because the players are like their own, promoters. They're on, and especially on the Instagram format, they're out there just constantly promoting themselves, where the baseball guys are the only one that's really doing it is Bryce Harper.
Guess what?
Kiki Hernandez.
Trevor Bauer has a media company now, and he's dead serious, and he posts.
Well, Trevor Bauer's really good at it too.
Momentum is what it's called, and it's on Twitter, and I hope you guys follow it because every day he puts out new videos, and he just wants to get close and personal with the people. Can you believe that Clevenger is his best fucking friend?
No, but
Dan.
All of these players are social media people.
Dan,
some are
Clevenger and Bauer are best friends.
And I love Clevenger.
Who doesn't? I mean, this guy is a hippie king, dude. He's got a kid, little girl.
Hippie king.
This guy wears sunflowers on his fucking shoes. Okay, he's so hippie-ish, but he's whatever. He seems like a cool person. I don't know him personally, but Trevor Bauer likes him, and the two of them are complete opposites, but they just respect each other and they love baseball. So that's all I got to say. I had to rant for a minute about. I love Clevenger. He's gonna get more wins than anybody, dude. Not anybody, but a lot of people.
Not just anybody. He's going to get a few more wins than somebody. He's going
to get more wins than Walker Buehler. He's going to get more wins than Snell. He's going to get.
Unfortunately,
I don't know about Snell, man. He was light out today. Did you see him today? 13 strikeouts.
He did look good today.
I was loving that. And the Rays look really good.
Yes, they do. The fucking Tampa Bay. They always that poor
Baltimore Orioles. They're going to win They're going to win.
Dude, Baltimore Orioles, they give out shots when somebody gets a hit at bars.
I think that's
Can we talk about how mad I was yesterday when they pulled David Hess out of that game with a no-hitter with 82 pitches thrown in the 6th inning? I was losing my mind.
What? Why did they? No, according to
they pulled him because he had made a relief appearance 3 days earlier, where he had thrown 42 innings or 42 pitches, and they brought him out for the start, and he was electric, man. He was no one could touch him. And they pulled him out of the game after 82 pitches with a no hitter intact, and the relief pitcher promptly gave it up.
Not too sad. It's the way you have to manage.
You're fucking kidding me, dude.
No, I'm not. I'm 100 for that.
It's 82 pitches.
What?
I am against it. I am so against it. He even said it.
Hold on a minute.
I saw an interview afterwards, Dan. He said what he's supposed to. He was fine. He said he argued a little bit and then left. Think
about this. This is
about it because you're wrong.
This is a chick thing. It's just the only person that can see this.
You guys
listen to me.
Because they get paid, they should be able to do something.
It doesn't have anything. I want you to see it from a different aspect for a second.
I don't want to. I'm closing my eyes.
Think about what it does to a person's fucking ego and what their confidence level when you rip them out of the game when they're doing well and you bench them. And then the fucking reliever comes in and gives up the game. And that goes way deeper than the money.
Nope.
Or instead of trying to promote a young player and everybody could be talking about him the next day on SportsCenter and he would be a household name, and instead no one's talking about him today. You guys didn't even know about it.
How about this?
It's not about that.
What about the fact that when you're only going to make him tougher if you leave him out there. He's only going to be able to go further if you let him push his boundaries. But no, we're too busy worrying about him like they're fucking China dolls. Listen, if you don't ever...
You don't know what his boundaries are.
Hold on a minute.
He might have gone 15.
But we don't know what boundaries are. There's no set thing that says 100 pitches is the boundary. We don't know this. It's not proven.
The team sets the boundary. They knew his boundary, and he met it or exceeded it.
He's 25 years old. This is not time for baby ass games. Okay.
No, you're wrong. Andrea. You are wrong.
Listen,
you are wrong.
I will tell you right now.
The pitcher's pitching arm is doing something it's physically not supposed to do.
He pitched 150 innings last year.
Statistics have proven that the number and the amount of time, the much you throw, wear and tear on the arm. It's proven.
This guy has no wear and tear. Excuse me.
And you have to build that muscle up.
Let me tell you something. He pitched 170 innings last. He pitched almost 200 innings last year.
6 months ago.
That's what they go by, dude. The next year, you can't pitch from like Walker Buehler. He went from like no innings.
You're gonna let some pitchers pitch 120 pitches the first game of the season.
How about? Let me ask you a question. If you go out and you run a half a mile every morning, okay? And you just all of a sudden you go out there and you want to run 2 miles. It's pretty much given that you're not going to be able to run the 2 miles because your body is only used to running a half a mile every day. But if you went out there and you went from a half a mile and then you moved it up to a 3/4 of a mile, and then the next couple of days you ran a mile, and then after that you worked up a little bit and you got to 1.5 miles, and that's why you're able to do that.
That's called you throw 86 pitches today, and then in 5 or 6 days you'll pitch 95 pitches.
Listen to me.
Maybe you'll pitch 120 after that. I mean, that's
he already did that. He already did that last year. He pitched 100.
Last year's not this year. It doesn't look that way.
Who the fuck's pitched more than 10 innings this year? Nobody. Everybody's only pitched a couple innings. Like, what do you want me to compare it to? Because here's the thing: if
you can't compare it to anything. What
are you talking about?
The people who own him are the only people that matter as far as how much he should have pitched.
Okay, fine. I'm just telling you that in general, we are raising a bunch of fucking wussies in life and in sports, not just in sports, but in life. Okay,
I will not.
He's 20.
We say 6 innings is good enough with the quality start.
I say be like Nolan Ryan and get the fuck out there and pitch 9 innings. Okay, if your arm is not falling off and you're pitching well, then you need to stay on the mound.
And you're wrong.
And the more shocking thing is that guy actually pitched 6 great innings.
He had 82 pitches.
You know.
Oh God! You know what, Dan? There's such a funny Yankees locker room when it was one young pitcher for the Yankees 2 years ago, and he was on the mound, and they took him off the same type of thing. He had a totally reasonable amount of pitches and a certain amount of innings, and they took him out of the game, and he was livid. He was like, if his fucking arm isn't falling off, then don't take him out of the game. You know, I don't know if you've ever watched the Yankees locker room, but it's a hilarious.
That's the point. No one wants anyone's arm to fall off.
Nobody does, but it's fucking hilarious.
It's only 82 pitches. It would be one thing if he was laboring or if he had, walked 5 batters or was struggling in the game, but he was cruising. They were not touching him.
Did you see Trevor Bauer the other day?
Which one? I've seen Trevor Bauer a lot. He's been doing a lot of things.
In his first outing of the year, when he was out there, but there was a point in time that if you just looked at the box score, you wouldn't know what happened. But he hit Nelson Cruz up above the waist, like close to the head. So Nelson Cruz was not pleased, and Trevor Bauer then threw in the dirt a couple times, and it was really one of those situations that didn't show up in the box score, but it was like he had to really kind of. He says he has a place that he looks in every ballpark where he can just look at that one spot and refocus, like get his attention back. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so bad. He threw 3 balls in a row, hit Nelson Cruz, and I thought for sure that he walked more than one batter, but he didn't. But anyway, it was just, I changed the subject because he says basically that he wants to stay out there. He threw more pitches than he ever has in an outing in his career. But his whole motto is like, put me out there and let me stay. And that's what he feels like he has to offer in the one deal contract thing, is that he'll go out there and he'll pitch like 9 innings. He wants to pitch like 9 innings, So it's exciting because I just feel like he's got it figured out. Okay? He's got it figured out by far. 10 years.
You're convinced.
Can I ask, are you on his payroll?
I I swear to God, Dan, do you know what it's like trying to get him? I just want him to notice me. Like I'm always, like I'm just like trying to treat. I'm always talking about him on Sirius, like everything that I say. The producers are even like, just talk about Bauer for a few minutes, And I'm like, one day he's gonna hear this because most reporters talk shit about him, and I'm always like, Bauer.
Andrea, what you need to do is you need to get a Trevor Bauer fan club T-shirt printed up, and then you need to wear it on air and make a note about it. And I'm telling you, it might get enough traction on Twitter. You might pick it up.
I swear, dude, I fucking I had Bauer outage shirt at Tout Wars, and it was a sweatshirt though. It was kind of hot, so I didn't really use it. But everybody knows I'm a Bauer fan, and
he's the guy that you're saying wants to pitch 9 innings.
Yes.
How many times has he pitched 9 innings in his career?
He wants to pitch every 4th day because that is exactly what he's worked up to do.
My argument is what they want.
Yeah, but how can you make that argument, though? Because he's had a great bullpen in Cleveland for the last 4 years with Andrew Miller and Cody Allen and all those guys there,
Because if you leave him out there and give him a chance, then you'll just have to see. But in the offseason, he goes to Driveline and he throws like every single day. He has the same regimen. He throws 4 sets of everything, always equals 69 or 420. Everything.
There you go. That's important.
He does like 4 sets of 69 pitches and then 420 whatever. But every day he does it, and he went and worked on his changeup, and that fucking bitch is nasty, dude. He's got 6 good above average pitches. He's got the biggest array of pitches in baseball, but like nobody even knows he's got at least 15 different pitches in his mind. He's made up pitches and shit. Nobody fucking even knows of these pitches yet. He's got 4 different.
I don't think there are 15 pitches.
Yeah,
no, Trevor Bauer has 15.
Yu Darvish claimed he threw like 12 at one point when he first got here.
Yeah, I think there's 11 or 12.
Whatever.
If you count the Eepis and the knuckleball.
Doug, he knows exactly where his finger exits. Like when he releases the ball, he knows exactly where his finger is. He knows exactly how many spins it's taking, dude, before it hits the plate.
Make America's pitchers great again. That's my motto.
Amazing.
Make America's pitchers great again.
Fucking Trevor Bauer, just the entertainment alone from that guy is worth the price of admission. Right, Dan? You know it is.
I love Trevor Bauer, dude. He's must-see TV. I've never seen him pitch live, unfortunately. It's something I need to get off my bucket list.
Me too, dude. I've never seen him pitch live, but you don't even have to. You just fucking the ball is.
You already said tonight you don't watch baseball.
I watched Trevor Bauer pitch, dude.
God, I've watched so many games this year already. I'm so juiced about the season.
He pitched against Minnesota the other day, and as soon as he was as soon as he was off the mound, I was rooting for Minnesota because I just love Minnesota. I think that they're going to beat the Cleveland Indians.
You're a lover or a hater, not much in between, are you?
Dude, if Trevor Bauer went to the Yankees, I would be a Yankee fan.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question, Andrea? Do you believe in Hanley Ramirez?
No.
I'm just curious if he's going to stick around or do anything or just have one of those bounce back seasons because they don't really have a lot of. I mean, he's going to get playing time there.
Here's what I think. Hanley Ramirez has always had a bad work ethic, right? He was always the one late to fucking workouts, and he was just everybody really felt like he did his own thing because he was good and everybody let him get away with it, and he wasn't really that good of a clubhouse guy. But maybe now in his career, I mean, we know that he's talented, so maybe if he works hard for once in his life, he might be worthy of some good.
He's just one of those question marks I have with that team. Even though there's a lot of question marks in general.
If he gets playing time, I mean, right now he's worth a roster spot if you need a fill in, right? I mean, because he's hitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
And they don't have other options.
It's early.
I mean, it's just as much of a chance as Colton Wong, dude. Colton Wong. Fuck.
It's early.
Well, you got to pick somebody.
Dan last on his show and everybody dropping all their guys, picking up all these other guys.
I was not. I was very specific with you. I said, if you're in deeper leagues and you're looking for pickups, and I said, I have leagues where I have 4 DL slots where I have 4 guys in the DL, so I had 4 open bench slots. So I was stashing players in deep leagues.
That's right. That's when you get Colton Wong and Hanley Ramirez and Jay Bruce. You fucking get Jay Bruce right now. Big time.
I've been taking shots on these pitchers like EEEZ. I'm just curious if he's going to
let me tell you about
Marcus Stroman pitch well again today. I did not think that was coming. I'm taking a chance on Matt Shoemaker.
EEREZ's a good.
I could buy.
He's a good one, dude.
But you're not picking up Hess or Thornton.
I got a bid in on Hess right now, and I'm not even going to say which. I don't know if you guys are in the league with me.
Why?
Because I'll take a chance on him because I have a deep enough roster where I got Kershaw on the DL right now.
They don't trust him to go deep into games, though. They don't.
It doesn't matter though. But if he gets 30 starts and he can throw up an ERA close to 4, I'm okay with it.
If it's above 4, it's a fucking bad idea, right?
Agreed.
So you're the relief pitcher guy. Let's talk about a couple relief pitchers.
No, I want to know what's on Dan's hat.
Make America Great Again.
No, it's a taco hat. That is
That's fucking.
It is
the Modesto. It's the Modesto Tacos alternate hat.
Okay, I couldn't tell.
Yeah, it's an official minor league hat. Yeah.
Wait a minute. There's a Tacos. There's a team called the Tacos.
They have like for 70 teams. They have like an
Hold
alternate name.
Hold on, Doug.
They have an
There's
alternate
a fucking team named Taco.
Yeah,
Andrea, listen, Andrea, quiet.
Let me see Dan. Put it on him only. Okay. That's a taco. So
There,
what's up? Is that his name? Is that the team name? Tacos?
No, they do like an alternate team name, partial time. Doug, you go ahead and explain it, Doug.
For which team?
Modesto.
Modesto who?
I believe it's a Modesto Nuts. I could be wrong.
Andrea, you have to be quiet a second. He's trying to explain to it. It's actually kind of cool, but you need to listen 1 second.
Okay.
About 3 years ago, the minor leagues decided they would do something to reach out to the Hispanic fans, and so they started with like 12 teams where they gave them like
fucking tacos, dude. That's how they reached out to the Mexican fans.
It's hysterical. The Durham Bulls are like called for 1 week. They're called like the Evil Eyes. It's hysterical.
Okay, well, yes, in Staten Island they do that.
Logos.
They have the pizza. They call them the pizza rats.
They're all
only on Saturday nights, though. They only get to call them that on Saturday nights. It's true.
I think that kind of stuff is fun.
That's
why minor league teams do it.
Look at the family, dude, right there. The big.
Hey, I spent $25 on their hat for a minor league team that I don't really follow. I just thought it was really neat when I saw it. I was like, "This is so cool! I'm buying this."
Yes, let me see the plants. Let me see those boys.
They have some cool ones.
Oh my goodness, look at them, dude. Just put it on Dan only. Hurry, put it on Dan. Make it big. I'm watching Doug.
Hey, Dan.
I'm watching you. Okay, give me the put it on Dan only.
I did.
No, I only see you and Doug. I can't. Oh, wait, maybe I have to click on it. There you are. Yes, I clicked on Dan and now I see it big. Oh my gosh. Look at those. They're like 3 feet tall. Hi, boys.
Hi, boys. Hi, boys.
I would play music for them. Pink Floyd, lots of it.
They're all females, Andrea. The only time males in marijuana are the kind when you breed with them.
I know you keep trying to tell me that, but I fucking just refuse to believe that there are 2 sexes. I mean, I won't believe that there aren't. You have to have 2 sexes to reproduce.
That's nature.
Yes, but they like to reproduce without any men.
Right, that's called a bumblebee.
That's bullshit.
Actually, marijuana can self-sex. That's how you get seeds that are feminized. They only produce female seeds.
All of your guys' GMO seeds and shit. I don't like it. I only like a man and a woman mating for reproduction.
I only like a man.
This is what Dan tells me. There's no man in this pack, dude. Nobody.
No man needed.
No penises in this whole slew of plants, dude. It's only just... What is it? Inseminated.
Dan is doing God's work.
They're falsely inseminated fucking plants. Whatever they are. All I know. I gave Dan my address today, so that's all I know.
Are you getting close? I mean, how's harvest going? How much longer is harvest season?
Our harvest is done and over with. Right now, we're all right. So this time of year,
why you were so busy? That's why you were so busy.
So crazy. So we did all that. We trimmed everything, and so right now I'm standing next to these massive plants, and if you can see, they got these whole shoots coming off of them.
Yeah.
Essentially, what we do is we turn these into new plants, and this is planting season for all the outdoor growers. They got to get their plants in the ground by June 1st to happen, so that way they can be finished by the end of the harvest season.
Do you like to grow outside too?
We're making thousands and thousands of clones right now. Yeah.
How come you grow outside?
It's so hard.
It is.
It's so much harder.
You live in the fucking weed growing capital of the country, dude. So you can't say that. It's so hard.
No, it's hard to go outside. You're in the elements. You got snakes and bugs and 100-degree heat and sunburns and
humid.
and It's so nasty. In here, I got 70 degrees at all times. I have a stereo. I can get food. I can smoke weed whenever I want. I have
You're
TV.
the kind of pitcher that would have to come out after 80 pitches.
Do you think that playing music for the weed makes it grow?
I definitely am.
Do you like to play music in there?
Yeah, all the time.
Are you considerate of what the weed plants might enjoy and might not enjoy?
I mean, they really like hip hop music. I'll tell you that.
They really like hip hop.
Oh, of course.
Well, you should play some Mac Miller then and Tupac.
I do.
You're on the West Coast, and that's right. You're West Side.
All right. Hey, I got a question.
Grinky just hit a homer. That's amazing.
Fucking Granky. Him and Madison Bumgarner can hit homers. I'm so glad you listened to that show about that poll that they did at the.
Yeah, I actually listened. I listened to it like 3 times. I listened to it 3 times because I took notes on it. Yeah.
I listened to it while I drove to my weed guy's house. And on the way back,
I caught it live on Saturday when he was doing it because I was working, and then I listened to it again on Monday before my show a couple times to kind of take some notes.
They're playing that on MLB radio now, dude, on the station on MLB channel on Sirius, and it's RotoWire owns it.
No,
that's
it's a great
pretty
show.
Cool. Yeah. So they talked about the millennials and how they actually do like baseball, fucking easy.
I'm not,
which I thought was awesome.
And I think I'm the one that said that originally. Baseball's not hurting like everyone says. The game is fine. Right. It's just a cycle that things are going through, and some of it is just people's thought. It's not even, it's their opinion that baseball's in trouble. It's really not, So, I think
it's not in trouble. They made more money last year than they ever made.
Okay, but that doesn't mean there aren't numbers that are down. But still,
I thought
baseball's fine.
Can we talk about one thing that I thought was really interesting was the fact that they said that baby boomers consume the majority of their, information in terms of sports and stuff like that through TV, right? And, the big deal with MLB right now is the TV rights, how they're making all their money. But the one thing they said was all these Generation Z kids, they're not watching TV, only about a 40% clip. So I feel like a lot more emphasis needs to be put on like the streaming services and things like that for it to really be successful going forward. Because if we continue to put all of our eggs in the TV basket, it's a dying media.
Well, so even though it's a dying media, though, that's where they have to spend their money, though. That to do these deals with these cable companies, they fucking cost a ton of money.
Yeah, but if you listen to my show a couple weeks ago, the money's not going to be in those networks. The money's going to be, Andrew, you do realize that right now it's real close to Amazon owning the rights to the Yankees games.
I don't give a fuck who owns the rights to the games because
it's not going to be cable companies that own.
Well, it's not. I don't know who owns the rights.
Media.
Whoever buys the rights, right? So yes, I think MLB is at a spot where they have to decide where they want to spend their money, right?
Well, no, MLB is not the one going to spend the money. The media people are going to give the money to MLB to have the rights for their games.
So when
you go to Amazon Prime to watch the Yankees.
So, okay, there's 2 different things. There's Fox, so let's say that every Monday Night Football game is on ESPN, right? They bought the rights for that. ESPN owns Monday Night Football, basically, right?
Of years, right?
Okay, so that's just an example that I'm going to use. And then there, on the other side of that, there is the cable news that they're the cable companies like Optimum and Comcast. Okay. So those are different than, right? Are they different? They don't, MLB TV has to work out a deal with our cable provider, which is Optimum. Okay. On the West Coast, they don't even offer MLB TV, and that's because MLB has not signed any kind of contract.
What are you talking about? MLB, I have that. I have it. I've had it for years.
I never got it.
Wait, all my friends have been. You're talking about like the app where you can watch streaming games. I've been using it for years.
No, I'm talking about the cable.
It's part of your cable
on cable.
Oh no, so it's only on DirecTV.
Yeah.
Right. Cable
Well,
company.
actually, I lied to you. It's been on some. It's on cable accounts around here because I was able to get it in the Bay Area. I haven't lived
there in 10 years, so maybe it's changed. But so on the West Coast, though, it wasn't even available as an option on it. But here it comes with any basic cable package. You get MLB TV.
It might depend on your provider. So whether it's Comcast or
Optimum,
whoever, exactly, whoever has that contract with the MLB may be able to provide it on their services.
The baseball package was originally compiled by the people that own the Dish networks.
Well, okay, so
that's why it came from them first.
The baseball package is like another $300 to get all the games. That's what we can pay. But MLB TV comes like as part of just basic cable here. Where do you live, Dougie?
Are you talking about MLB Network?
Yes,
Network.
the MLB TV.
Yes,
you're right.
though.
I'm calling it the wrong thing.
Yeah.
I'm talking
That's
about.
what was confusing me.
I'm calling it like channel 222 on my fucking TV right now.
They have there's a thing that you can get
That helps.
on cable called Extra Innings or something, and that's like all the games.
Yes, so that's like $300 on top of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, I have that, and I have MLB Network.
Do you ever fucking watch it, dude? Seriously, we got
What,
it every
MLB
year.
Network or MLB TV?
No, the extra package, all the games.
Fuck yeah, I watch it. I watched the Rays Rockies game today because I had Blake Snow going against Kyle Freeland. I was juiced about that game, so I was watching that from the start. I watched the whole thing.
Well, I expect you to be watching some Trevor Bauer bitch and getting your fucking money's worth.
I don't own him on any teams, unfortunately.
It doesn't matter, dude. Watch his friend Clevenger. This motherfucker is going to be winning awards too because they got together and figured this shit out together. These two are just. I can't even be more happy that fucking Bauer found Clevenger because he is so good for him.
The Bauer show.
Bauer rules the fucking baseball world, and he will rule the world. And watch me.
We'll see.
I put my fucking rankings in at Fantasy Pros.
Training staff keeps his arm under control, he'll be fine.
Bullshit.
They let him throw 140 pitches every time. He'll be in trouble.
Bullshit, Easy. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Because you're wrong. I've told you you're wrong.
You don't even know what you're talking about. That's how I know you don't even fucking pay attention to Trevor
Answer
Bauer.
me a question, though. Answer me a question about Bauer. He throws so much in the offseason, and we've seen a guy like Felix Hernandez start to break down by throwing so many pitches. You think there's going to be a wear and tear point where he's going to hit the wall?
Work that way.
This is how it works.
Work
I'm going to tell you. He sees
what do you mean it doesn't work that way?
Yes, he does. He sees it from an engineering perspective. Listen to me. He has worked.
Yeah, no baseball player's ever been wrong.
I'm not going to say that. Has Trevor Bauer ever been hurt?
Tim Lincecum.
Has he ever fucking had any injuries whatsoever? He got hit last year with a.
I can also name players who haven't trained at all that don't get hurt.
I probably will not be able to convince you, but I will tell you that he knows what puts strain on his arm because he understands the kinetics of it. He understands.
He is the only one, a baseball player, not doctors, not a surgeon, not people.
Think every team has guys that
baseball
know this.
player knows.
No, they don't, Doug, and neither do they know. Easy, I'm telling you the truth.
I'm certain there are guys on the Astros that know this who tell it to their pitchers.
The Astros are the team that does know. Listen, the Astros do know, but they're far and above every other team in baseball.
I feel like Trevor Bauer is a step away from being L. Ron Hubbard.
At least to her.
Listen to me, dude. He's fucking about to be the president of the United States. Okay, motherfuckers. I'm so nominating him.
I'm not thinking wrong. I hope he stays healthy, and I hope he throws 100. He can throw 100.
He's not even going to listen. He says he's going to retire when he's 39, and he's going to be able to do it because he approaches it in the proper way. When he was pitching before, he realized that he was putting way too much stress by his release point, and he was. Same thing with Clevenger. Clevenger's arm was getting tired every time he would go out and start a game. About the third inning, his arm would get tired, and they looked at the videos and they figured out that his release point was pushing his body too much forward. So that when he released it, it was putting too much strain on his arm. So they decided to try to fix it. And next time Clevenger went out there, he was loads better than he was before. His arm did not get tired. Trevor Bauer has videos on YouTube. If you're interested, I would advise you to just go and check it out with an open mind and see what you think about it. But just at least hearing what he has to say and the amount of time that he spent thinking about it and working with it. You know, he's an engineering. He looks at it from yes.
Andrew, his sources aren't wrong. A lot of the guys from that drive line are getting hired in MLB right now. There's been a trend in the last 2 seasons where I'd say probably 5 to 10 of those guys have been hired in front offices in the MLB. So, I mean, his information he's getting is good.
You know, the Kansas City Royals sent Kyle Zimmer, dude, to Driveline Baseball for an entire year, and they paid for it, for him to go there and rehab, and he didn't even hit 80 miles an hour with his pitches when he got there. And Kyle Zimmer now is somebody that you should be keeping on your watch list because he's pitching above it. Kansas City paid for that shit too, which makes me love that team even more.
I love Kansas City.
They're doing excellent.
These small markets have got to take every statistical advantage and every little advantage they can get right now at this point. They can't compete with the big market clubs.
Driveline baseball, they fucking get it. Trevor Bauer gets it. Sorry. EEZ, you can argue with me all day long and you can be a hater.
Argument.
I wish that you would, if only thing I could do is to get you to just be open-minded enough to
I am open-minded.
So Trevor Bauer has a video on YouTube that's about injuries, okay? He talks about injuries. He talks about the ways that he's been able to avoid injury and how he's going to continue to avoid injury in the future. So you can believe with it what you want, but at least you got to, at least if you look at it, you can make your own decision, but at least it's there. He's really bringing ideas that have never been introduced to baseball. And honestly, he doesn't give a fuck what anybody says about him or thinks about him. And he's been like this since he came around. And Garrett Cole can kiss my ass, okay? The more martinis, the more ass he can kiss.
All right.
Why is Garrett Cole kissing your ass? What did he do to you? He's
a fucking dick.
That's
because he was very mean. Trevor Bauer and Garrett Cole went to college together at UCLA. And Garrett Cole didn't like the way that he got ready, the way that he worked out, the way that he did his thing. And he came up to Trevor Bauer and told him that he doesn't even have a place in baseball and that he'll never be any good. Both of them are excellent, but neither one of them has spoken since college. And they played for 4 years in college together. And it was always the two of them. I think that Bauer and Cole were drafted in like the same round in the player draft.
Cole was a first overall pick or top 5 at least. I know that.
He was, and he's a dick. Okay. And he's a dick.
Okay, he's a dick. I buy that. Do we care?
I don't give a shit.
WrestleMania 35 has
you're part of if you're part of Lenny's
women that are the main headline of WrestleMania 35 for the first time ever.
It should be.
WrestleMania
they're the hottest.
Has 2 women. Is that a step forward?
That's fucking. Oh, please.
A step forward for who?
For
society.
For men everywhere, it's a step forward. Plus, it's a step forward for the sport because women are better wrestlers than dudes.
Well, I mean, the sport has changed. I mean, there was a time when women only wrestled as entertainment.
You know what's the problem?
They now actually do wrestle. They actually now wrestle just as hard as the men.
Those bitches are more flexible. They're hotter looking. They're more dramatic. Everything is better about the women.
I'm not arguing that.
Here's the problem with the women's fucking suffrage movement that we have going on right now, okay?
We're not talking that. I just want to
know. Let me tell you.
I'm going to come out and say that women should get the vote.
Let me fucking tell you about the women's movement that's going on right now.
People to be president, they should be allowed to vote on that.
They used to fucking be mean to you on Twitter and shit, and now they're scared to even say a fucking mean thing or question a woman ever. And it's so sad. I can pretty much do anything, and nobody's going to fuck with me or be mean to me on Twitter.
I will tell you if you're wrong about Bauer.
I questioned you about your Javi Baez pick, and you weren't wrong.
But people don't say, like, get back in the kitchen and shit like they used to, right? They don't do that. No, they don't even, but they because they want to be more politically correct, usually, like unless it's a troll and like they're anonymous. But if anybody's like showing their face, nobody wants to be mean to a woman, so they don't even question you anymore. They just they're like, okay. And it's really sad because it's not that fun anymore.
All right.
It's just do you understand what I'm saying?
I never really wanted to be mean to a woman. I mean,
like they've overcorrected or something.
Maybe an ex-wife or two, but that's it. There's like a very short list of women that I'd like to be mean to.
Do you understand what I'm talking about, dude? People
are just short list.
I'm losing my mind over here. This is great entertainment.
Mine's in bed right now.
Like, here's the thing.
I yell at her when she's asleep. That worked best for me.
If I have as much baseball knowledge as the next guy or the next everybody, I still get the job because I'm a chick. I still get it because I'm a minority. And like they have to fulfill certain diversity standards. So even if you're fucking only like the 10th best chick, if you're the 10th best chick, then you're better than all of the guys that are like 10 times smarter than you, but you're a chick, so you get the job. I don't know. I totally took advantage of it because you got to utilize your tools, but I don't think it's right. Like, why should a chick get it just because she's a chick? Why should you hire somebody just because they're of color?
It's that people will listen to women more easily than they'll listen to men. That's why that's why all the weather people are women, and almost
that's because they're hot.
No, it's exactly that. It's
Nobody
Google-
fucking
that's like
listen.
Google
Nobody
Maps.
trusts the
Well,
weatherman.
Google Maps is a woman.
Nobody
You know,
fucking trusts the
That's
weatherman.
my
Dude.
theory is like it's like there's entire like groups of like the people who sell like pharmaceuticals are all like hot stewardess women that go because they're the only people that can get a doctor to stop for a second. It's like yeah, it's like
That's
yes,
probably true.
That's the way the world
See,
works.
because women have a tool that only women can have, and believe me, we've not been treated like shit all these years like they want you to believe. Women have not been pushed down into the ground. There's sexism everywhere, but that's because men love boobs and shit. They love the way a woman looks. So I feel like a woman should use that as her tool rather than try to complain and cry about it. Just it's an asset, not a liability in most cases.
I'm not going to argue that.
Dan,
Andrew.
you're on mute.
Is Dan talking? I think he's just
Dan's just talking to the plants.
Well, I'm working right now. I'm sorry. What happened? I was in the middle of doing something.
Nothing.
Andrea saying something. You were all over the place visually.
That women should
I
utilize.
thought you were saying something. That's all.
Women should utilize the fact that they have a tool.
Well, I think everyone should use whatever tool you have. You should take advantage of it.
I agree with you. And quit fucking crying all the time. That's what I say.
Yes, I'm a big crybaby.
No, people need to quit crying all the time and being offended.
Oh, I agree with that.
Don't you think, Dan? Are you with me? Yes. Doug, you're with me.
10-4.
You're all on your side, Andrew.
I'm on the side of actually.
You can't hang up easy. No, you're not.
Being nice to people is an okay thing. That's
You better start talking to me and telling me why you're hanging up.
Because I've been on 2 hours.
So what? We used to go for 3 hours, and it used to hang up on us.
Yes, and that was before like I said, I already talked to. I've got people on vacation. I'm working hard the last 2 weeks, and it sucks.
I've been sick. I'm glad you guys have been here to.
Right. Doug was worried he was going to have to carry the show, but I do want to end though. I do have to say, where's
Rocky?
Rocky is at home. Rocky was not allowed to come over tonight.
Why?
What? That's my daughter's mad at me.
Because she says, dude, she says when he goes to your house, he eats fucking towels and shit.
No, when he comes to my house, he roughhouses too much, and he gets a little out of control. Grandpa,
so what?
Papaw needs a break every once in a while.
Oh bullshit! You said she's mad at you.
You see? Did I put the picture up of where he fell on his face? Did you see that?
Oh, poor Rocky. No.
He ran out onto the porch and tripped over his own feet and
he's a big fatso.
He put his face. It was all bloody. His chin.
Oh
from where
God, this poor dog. He's like an accident waiting to happen.
Oh my God,
this guy ate a towel. Did he eat a towel?
No, he ate one of those rope knot things. And had to have his belly cut open. But that being said, last Wednesday on the network, me and Chris had Wesley Martin on.
Wesley Martin.
And Wesley Martin won one of my more popular shows. I had more YouTube viewers and more.
Wait a minute. So did he go to school with your son?
Yes. And I coached him in baseball.
Yes. Okay.
He graduated. I've known Wesley since he was 6 years old.
He's very nice to have on the show. Yes. Is he going to be a regular?
I'm hoping, but today was his when he had the fundraiser. So bravebreed.org is his organization he started about a year ago, where they're doing dog rescue here in the area and all that stuff. So he did this fundraiser, Reps for Rescue, where you could pledge so much money so that every rep he did on his pro day, which was today, then that amount of money would go towards his organization, which I made a donation. I know when we did the show, his donations were only up to about $300 some. He didn't get to his goal of 3,000, but he got to about 1,500.
Really? Because of the show, you think?
I hope so.
I do too.
I obviously I pledged, but I just want to, I want to thank him again for coming out. And I did get the results this evening. Wesley did 38 bench presses at 245 pounds at his pro day today. So
holy shit! Wait a minute, 38.
38. His PR was 42 or 43. And
what does PR mean?
Personal record.
Okay.
So and his goal, the estimates were all done on hoping he would do roughly 35 to 40, and he did 38. So he did 38 his pro day today, which is a pretty big number.
So his thing is called Bear Bree, and it's for rescuing dogs.
Bravebreed.org. Bravebreed.org.
Okay, well, I'm writing a little slurry right now.
I should have gotten a link. I posted it in the website of when we had him on. And obviously you can still donate and do other things, but I just wanted to, this is a big day, and we talked about it on the show. This is a young man who today was his day for 26 NFL scouts to watch him do something.
That's pretty exciting.
And he added the pressure of that by doing a fundraiser during it.
You know how good that made him look, dude. That was super smart.
I agree. So
that was all for show, dude.
The odds are, to be real honest, I read a lot on him. I mean, there's a real good chance that he will be on an NFL team this year. I mean, he's that quality of a player. So,
okay. So we have a little youngster, Lenny's Legion here, that you coached when he was a kid. With your kid.
If you didn't listen to my show, he even said I won him 2 championships.
I heard.
We were back-to-back champs. So
I heard you talking to him like. Well, that was the impression that I got, that you've known him and he was friends with your son.
Yeah. And did you listen to the part though, where again, he was one of the better players on my team, and we were playing a team that had 2 lefty batters. And when you're 9 and 10, everyone pulls the ball.
I'm a lefty.
I moved Wesley to right field. And the very first ball, I mean, exactly the way a manager would coach it. I'd put your good player out there, and literally the ball was hit, right at him.
Nobody puts their good player in fucking right field.
No, I put my good player in right field because these 2 kids were going to hit it there. And the very first kid hit it to him, and Wesley dropped the ball. And Wesley remembered that. I asked him on the show. I said, do you remember what you did when I put you in right field? He goes, yeah, I dropped the ball. It was just hysterical. Any kid could have played out there and dropped the ball, but I put my good player and but we still won. We still won the championship, and he remembered that. But
Lenny used to coach two brothers that were friends with his kid, Michael, and one of them is on the show Suits.
No.
Yeah, he's the creepy looking dude with the dark hair on Suits.
So Lenny taught them how to be dramatic.
He coached them in baseball and in basketball, actually, and they still talk.
All right, that's cool.
So, of course, Lenny's starstruck by everybody.
I am hoping, and I'll be talking. Wesley, he's actually, today was pro day, and tomorrow he'll be in Kansas City working out for the Chiefs.
So is this like what are they doing right now? Didn't they already have Columbine week or something?
Combine week is over.
Columbine week would be much worse.
Pro days go through the 4th. This week is pro days at most of the colleges. And then now he will just go to organizations and have interviews. So they're not allowed to work. See, we learned that on the show last week. They're not allowed to work him out. He cannot work out for individual teams now. He can only do it.
Are you fucking kidding me?
He can only do it in public. So he's got like 3 other events where some people can come watch him do an actual workout. But everything else now is just truly interviewing and stuff.
What the fuck is all this bullshit?
Those are the rules.
Well, that's fucking got to stop. These colleges are making so much money and they're fucking ripping everybody off. It's bullshit.
Has nothing to do with the colleges. This has to do with the NFL. No, this is an NFL. Wesley's not a college guy anymore.
It has to do with
sorry. I thought he was in college.
No, he's graduated. He was a senior this year. He graduated early.
I thought they draft.
Did he
graduate early just to be in the NFL?
No. Well, no. He was a 5th year. He was redshirted as a freshman. So
what the fuck does that mean?
That means he did not play. He was on the team, but he didn't play for injury reasons.
Okay.
So he got to stay in school an extra year. So he played for 4 years, but he went to school for 5.
Okay. So, but then you said he graduated early.
Right, because he went to school. He went to school for 5 years, but the degree he did. So he did
4.5.
Well, technically, he had to stay in school while he was playing, so he couldn't graduate until after the football season.
Well, I mean, shoot, if I was a college kid and I had a shot at being on an NFL team, I would fucking absolutely forego college, and I would get on the fucking team, and I would make my whatever happen before I get hurt.
Right. he said he had to take 1 credit hour. So he's pretty much been doing nothing but working on this part, which was getting ready for the workouts and getting ready for that. But my goal is to have him on a few more times, and maybe regularly, where he discusses his path to the NFL.
You should definitely, come up with a topic and send it to him a couple days beforehand and talk to him about that aspect.
Well, we'll find out. Like this week, he's going to like 4 cities to do interviews. Maybe we can sit down. Give me an idea. What was that like? What were some of the questions, if you're allowed to ask? Those kind of things. Just
what about those questions they ask in the combine? Like, is your fucking mother a prostitute and shit?
That's I've heard all those dumb questions.
Dan, we can't hear you. We can't hear you, Dan.
I'm not talking to you guys. I'm talking to my employee. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem.
Fire.
No, be nice to her.
Yeah, be sweet.
Why do you assume it's a her?
Because
I have one of each.
All the plants are hers. Dan.
I hope the girl has no top on and shit, because that's how they did it.
Oh my God! This is not New Jack City. I am not Nino Brown.
That's how you're supposed to clip weed. That's all I know.
Yeah, you're supposed to do it in the movies.
Tell her. You want me to tell her? I could tell her.
No, Andrea, no.
Dan, put her on.
Yeah, I'll be on my way to a sexual harassment lawsuit already.
Okay, I'm just joking.
But one more time. Good job, Wesley Martin out there. Hopefully we'll have him back on. I'm glad if his fundraiser money went up because of this show and a few people went out there, obviously it was all done privately. I would have no idea of who did it and who didn't, but I do know that his pledges went way up after he did our show.
I love it.
And
I'm so glad to hear it.
So, and hopefully we'll get him back on and we'll talk. But that's why I wanted to at least put his website out there again. bravebreed.org. I always
Brave Breed. Breed. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Like in dog.
Well, I wasn't hearing the end. I was only hearing Bree, like, fucking Manziel's ex-wife to be.
No, I'll
Breed.
Look, I'm gonna type it. www.bravebreedrescue.org.
I found it.
There, I put it on
Breed Rescue Inc.
Yep. Yeah, and what's funny is if you look on there on his website, the one of the people who's on the board of his board for his corporation is the kid that started me playing fantasy football. So it's kind of fun. And me and Mrs. Easy are going to go. They need people to volunteer to come play with puppies, and that's going to be me and Mrs. Easy's job.
Does Mrs. Easy like baseball at all?
Mrs. Easy. I've been playing softball. We're going to be on our 37th anniversary here in about.
I know. I want to go to a game with you guys.
Mrs. E, I have played softball the whole time we've been married.
No, I've been real game. I want to go to a real game.
Nope. Would you just listen one time? I'm trying to tell you. You asked me a question.
I hear every fucking word you're saying. Even if I interrupt you, I still hear you.
Mrs. Easy has gone to almost every one of my softball games, including when we had children. She'd watch them and all that. And I tell you, I never once saw her actually watch the game. But here's the problem.
What would she be doing?
I would reading magazines, playing Sudoku, knitting.
No way.
No. But Andrea, here's the point though. I never saw her watch the game. But when we would get in the car and be driving home or something, she would go, this is no lie. She would look at me and go, "You sucked today."
Yeah, she would know what was going on. Or she
would go, "You had a good game." Or she would say, "How did you drop that ball?" And I would I'd look at her and go, "How do you even know that happened?" She goes, "Well, I saw it." I mean, I never thought she was paying attention.
Yes, but she's able to multitask.
Her argument was that the only time I would pay attention to her not watching is when I wasn't doing anything. So she said I didn't need to watch. So
right.
She has gone to multiple. We go to the Dragons games. We've had season tickets there a few times. We've gone to Reds game. Mrs. Easy. Mrs. Easy and my oldest son about got hit in the head by a Barry Bonds home run ball before the game. So it'd be a practice.
So in St. Louis, is that where you go to watch games?
What's the closest? Cincinnati. We went to Cincinnati.
Oh,
we were when Bonds, San Francisco came to play the Reds. I bought us seats right out at behind left field because I knew if he hit home runs, that's where it would be. So that's where we went there for Mother's Day. So she wasn't real happy that was going to be our Mother's Day thing. That we're going to spend that all day at the baseball game. because we went early enough to batting practice. And
she didn't give a shit about Barry Bonds, dude, and neither did I.
Barry Bonds literally hit a home run ball that hit the seat my kid was sitting in. I had to holler at him. He was about to get hit by a ball. Instead, it hit the seat and bounced off. But it was fun. So she will go to a game.
She'll go there with me. Will she go and have dinner? Steak dinner? Or what kind of good down-home cooking do you have?
We're steak and potatoes, people.
Okay, good. Dan, how many times have you seen Barry Bonds?
Easy loves lobster and crab too. So
I'd say probably about 7 or 8 times. I got to see him pretty frequently. His last couple years in San Francisco was my first couple years living in the Bay. I moved to the Bay in 2006, and what was his last year in San Francisco? 2008.
Do the people in San Francisco, do they hate Barry Bonds or do they like him?
No, they actually love him there.
Is he nice or not?
No, he's a douchebag. I've never met him, but I mean, like, he doesn't
have a good reputation for being a nice guy.
No, he's a douchebag. But, San Francisco fans tend to love him just because, before he showed up, there were really nothing going on since, the 1989 teams. And, the Giants were kind of a wasteland for a pretty long time.
What about Mark McGwire? He's too. Nobody likes
him. Mark McGwire, it's so long ago that, not a lot of baseball fans in the Bay Area. I mean, of course, everyone remembers the Bash Brothers, but I think Mark McGwire is more revered in a place like St. Louis, where he set all the records and was a huge deal there.
I think they probably think the same of him there as they do of Barry Bonds in San Francisco. I think
St. Louis is even better, though.
Barry Bonds in San
He's considered like a folk hero in St. Louis, man. St. Louis, I'm serious. It's such a great baseball town.
I think they probably think the same of him there as they do.
One of you've got a sound problem.
Yes, I don't know. I hear him.
He's considered like a folk hero in St. Louis, man.
What the hell does that mean?
I'm serious. It's such a great baseball town.
I think they probably think the same of him there as they do.
Hold on.
One of you've got a sound problem.
Ouch.
You know what? Is it over now?
Yes, what the hell was this?
That was because I left Lenny's site by mistake and I went back in and I hit refresh and it brought
you
up. Yeah, it was me. I didn't realize that while I was listening to you. I thought it was Dan for a minute. Sorry, Dan.
Dan's just trucking around his fucking weed ecstasy fantasy island, dude.
Normally I go to my page on our site because it doesn't automatically play, but I happen to go to the chat room.
Did it play automatic? Yes,
because I hit refresh. I had muted it, but I hit refresh, and when you hit refresh, it wants to play.
Lenny gets so upset because he thinks they can't hear, and then they leave, and so he wants me to have that thing play every time somebody opens up the chat room, and so that's what it does.
I don't necessarily disagree. I just always forget as the podcaster to go to my site.
Is it that hard for people to fucking find the play button and fucking hit it? I mean, honestly,
Lenny will stop the podcast for 20 minutes to get someone to learn how to hit the play button.
And he'll be like this, can you hear me? And so the funny thing is, though, if they can't hear him,
I laugh at that every time.
It's a useless fucking question if you can't hear the person.
I think his point is, if you can hear me, I know you hear me, I can quit telling you, but I agree.
So Lenny teaches new podcasters
out some of these fantasy, website. Me and Dan or Doug talked earlier, Yahoo and all these things, they've made these apps so damn complicated to play fantasy football or baseball. If you can do that, you should be able to come to a site and push one fucking play button.
The problem with that one play button is that you press it, and sometimes it takes like 4 minutes for it to actually work.
So everybody with all their sound things, because they learn it from Lenny, because Lenny's like, does everybody hear me? And then he used to do sound. And so EEZ, you're the only one in the room that would probably really know, because you go the furthest back, but it would always be like sound. And so the new podcasters come and they want to make sure that the chat room can hear. So they spend the first fucking minute of their fucking podcast being like, can you hear me? And I'm like, this fucking is ridiculous because I don't really have the time to be listening.
But Lenny still tells him that. Lenny says,
well, he does that. So that's what
I know, but three times of the week, Lenny will start his show. He starts 5 minutes early, and then he'll tell him, now, for you podcasts out there, you need to know that's why you get on 5 minutes early, to make sure your sound's working. And then once he starts the show, he still says, does my sound work? I'm like, we just told you it worked before you.
Whenever somebody new comes to the chat room, dude, it's on. Yeah, okay.
He cracks me up.
But
can I ask you a question, Andrea?
Sure. I would be.
Do you know anything about making apps, or does anyone know anything about making apps?
I'm just learning.
Because I have a spectacular idea for an app.
Okay, tell it to me.
Okay, so my biggest complaint with fantasy sports in general is because I'm playing, for example, I'm playing in like 7 different leagues.
Yes.
But of the 7 different leagues, I'm playing on 4 different sites.
Yes.
So what if we could make an app that could kind of be like, cheapoair.com or something that, goes to 4 different sites and then pulls them all into one thing where you can
Fantasy
use one.
Pros.
Fantasy Pros does
that a little bit.
Well, they do it a lot, actually.
Yeah,
Literally,
all the time.
you can pull in all your fucking teams from every website, and it will tell you who's on the waiver wire, what is a good trade to make, and everything.
But I want to be able to actually make waiver pickups and run all my teams from one site instead of having to go to 4 different sites every night.
So I did some research and I figured out.
Fan Pros will do that also.
Fantasy Pros.
Fantasy Pros will do that with ESPN. ESPN's the only one that right now allows them to actually make the moves.
Yes.
You can, in Fantasy Pros, you can say
it'll say to make a move, but it'll take you to Yahoo or whatever to do it.
I am fucking not going to dog on Fantasy Pros. I think that they are the most innovative shit that we have. But here's what they are: they're a data company. They're not a So that's really that was intriguing to me because I wanted to know what they basically. I mean, what they've done analytically and technology-wise with being able to pull in all that shit. Like there's a big difference between just creating an app and creating something like that. Because they have to get the permissions from all of those websites to actually pull that information in. They have to get I don't know if they have to get permissions from the website or if they just have to get permissions from you, but they have to be super smart when it comes to like how they get their data. Like they're able to pull that shit right in and make it work together. But you can make a Google app, which we paid to be in the Google Play Store. I paid the money to be in the Google Play Store because I was going to have Spreaker make an app for us. But then I figured out that Spreaker, they only do apps for shows. So like every show would have an app, and I want to be able to have the network have an app. And I do want to do mock drafts. Dan, I remember you were like, so what fucking direction is this place going? I mean, honestly, like last week you wanted to do this, now you want to do mock drafts, and now you want to do the radio shit. And I'm like, I fucking want to do all of that. But I honestly, to get the data, to create an app is not that hard. Google makes it really pretty simple. But as soon as I get the radio station set up, but which I did, by the way, bitches, I did get the radio thing hooked up. Yes, I did. And so right now I'm just trying to figure out how to, because we have an auto DJ now that can play on demand, like it will play and it will recycle podcasts while nothing is live. And then you have to use a specific, it's called Mix. It's like a mixer that you can use for live streaming. But I have to figure out how to replace Mixler so that when a person goes on live, it will automatically stop the auto DJ. Right now, if I put that player on the website, it would play all the time. It would play. But when a person came on live, it would continue to play because they're 2 separate entities, right? So and then it would have to be like the person that's listening to the radio player would have to stop the radio player to listen to the live stream. So I want it all to be together, but I'm super close, you guys. It's exciting. That's exciting.
All right.
I still don't have a lot of answers, but I'd want to do mock drafts. I want to fucking find a programmer, dude. I thought
we're going to get there. I got confidence in you.
But I could definitely build an app, and we already paid the money to get on Google Play, so I need to get that shit going. If you find anybody that knows how to build it. I really think it's fairly simple once you get the radio thing going, because all it is really basically it's just kind of a link to a web page where it plays that web page. So the app will it shouldn't be hard to do an app.
I just don't know how to do it, but I agree. Shouldn't be that hard. I would call Trevor Bauer and see.
I think the hardest part is getting approved and paying the money and getting like ready to go in the developer's corner, which we're there. Trevor Bauer, dude.
He's an engineer. You told me if he can fix arms, that son of a bitch should be able to write an app and like
he's like a fucking astrophysics.
I'm guessing between innings 6 and 7, he should be able to write a damn app for you.
Easy, you would love him, dude. I'm telling you, you would love him.
And I wouldn't love the guy.
Pay more fucking attention, dude.
You act like I pay more attention than you think.
Not to Bauer, you don't, because Dan. Trust me, I knew exactly when Dan started paying attention to Bauer. I knew it immediately. I knew it because he was kind of. You're kind of just amazed kind of by him, and you don't have to, when you first say his name to people, they're just like, oh, whatever, he's stupid, and then I keep talking about him and they have to be intrigued a little bit, and then all of a sudden they're Bauer fans.
I'm glad it's going well for you so far. I'm glad.
He's gonna have up and down days. In fact, he almost blew up this week, but I'm telling you that overall he's the best pitcher in baseball, and he's the fucking smartest and the bitchiest,
and that's what we're gonna end on.
Everybody up,
we're gonna end on the smartest and the bitchiest.
He will crush everybody.
I'm not
because he's tough.
I'm not arguing that.
Just even if you don't like his pitching, you gotta. He's the type of person that we need to have be raising our college kids.
Okay,
instead of a bunch of fucking pussies.
Again.
Enjoy
the grape Kool-Aid.
Everybody, safe space has got to go, dude. That's it.
Dan, when do you have another show? When's your next show?
Monday night. Monday.
Only Mondays now, solo, right?
That's correct. Solo
very
mission.
Pleased and appreciative that you stayed and are doing a show. And if you want a partner, I'm sure you can find one. But you're doing good.
I stayed awake for you last night. I participated. I come to your chat.
Me and Doug had fun. Me and Doug had fun on opening night. That was a good time.
Yeah, I missed that night. I didn't know you were.
You should have your dad on. You know.
Yeah,
your dad loves baseball.
Jim's my favorite guy.
You know, Dan, I'd be open to do stuff with you more often, but I don't know if I commit to every Thursday. But once in a while, sure.
Yeah, my biggest issue is preparing for a show and then having to stop work. Like tonight, I could be on my phone. It's not an issue. But like on Mondays, I stop and I get on the Mixler and the computer and I stop working.
Guess what? Mixler's history.
That's my biggest issue.
Mixer's about to be
if I could host something from my phone, it would make my life so much easier.
I'm gonna find a way.
The Spreaker podcast app on a phone is much better than Mixer.
Yes, you can.
Yep.
How can I listen to like the show on a Spreaker app?
Yes, and you know what's best about it is that it automatically gets posted as soon as you're done, and it doesn't even go to the website. It's actually wait on their servers. So, but there's a playlist. So if you go to your page, like for the Dugout, then you'll see a player, and you can pick any of the shows that you want. But immediately it gets posted, and that's a fucking big problem trying to post all these shows.
Yeah, Doug, right now you could go to Spreaker.com and look up Fantasy Fan Sportscast, and I come up and
all the shows are right there.
Yeah,
but I can embed that.
I know that that Lenny broadcasted on Spreaker once that I could see, but
how long ago was that? In like
I don't know that
it was like Friday morning or something. There was one where it was on a different format.
Friday morning.
Was it Friday?
Not that I know of.
There was one, but like I've only.
Here's the thing, though. I don't know because we set up a Spreaker account. I set it up. I put everybody's shows in there. You guys all have a show in there under our account, and it's a free account, so I can do anything I want. But when I figured out that I do love the fact that Spreaker gives each show its own URL, its own feed, its own iTunes, and every show gets its own rather than having on Mixler. It's all under Legend Sport, like it's all under Lenny Melnick. If I want to put it on the iTunes and shit, they don't separate it.
I actually do listen to EEZ and Dan a lot because they're on late at night, but I listen to them literally on my phone when I'm out doing stuff. And the Mixler app is actually pretty good that way.
But Spreaker app,
but you're listening to unedited shit. Okay, so you're listening to the Mixler. That is true, but I don't really like the fact that it just automatically. See, I like to edit the bad shit out, and I like to.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, but I just like, will I be able to like? I probably listen to a little bit of EEZ show on Wednesday, every Wednesday, but I'm not in the chat room.
Have you ever tried to listen to the shows at the website?
Well, I mean, if I'm at the website, I'll be in the chat room too.
Do you ever try to listen to shows on your phone at the website?
Yes, I have it. It's the Mixer thing. The way it condenses, it's actually a cleaner. It's a cleaner thing, you know, when I'm running it through my car.
So can you do me a favor though? Because for a while when I was posting shows on the website, I was messing around with the size of the file. So I was trimming them down and they were coming out distorted. I know a couple of Dan's did come out like seriously distorted. And since then I have figured out pretty much to make it sound pretty good. And I do also, like if you click on if you go to just podcasts, you should be able to listen to all the podcasts that are on the whole page, like without leaving the page. So you should be able to like click, it's rows of 3 shows.
I know you can do that, but I believe that.
When was the last time you listened?
on Mixler, like
no, on the
Saturday.
website.
On the website today.
Yeah, but no, she means, have you listened to a podcast, a recorded show off of our website, not a live show?
Yeah, I listen to mine every week, and occasionally I listen to other people's.
How do you listen to it, though? You go to your Mixler app and you listen to it there.
No. I listen to it on the website.
Okay, and it sounds better in the app, is what you're saying.
What I'm saying is that when you're out about in the world, there's a thing about, like, it's like broadcast bandwidth. And
yes.
The Mixler app, much like many other podcast apps, does something to allow it to get more out of less bandwidth than it does straight over the internet. So if I'm listening to the show on Mixler, I'll have no pauses.
Okay.
Live show. But if I listen to it straight off of like the Lenny Melnick website, there will be pauses during the broadcast.
So you're telling me that if you're listening at the Mixler website to a live show on the live page at Mixler, you have a better sound than if you're listening to it from the website in the live chat room?
Oh, I'm not. Connection is more that I'm worried about. It sounds about the same. There'll be more.
Sometimes I think you make problems out of nothing.
I'm just saying that I like listening.
Because you've always had a problem with Mixler. I don't know if you just if Mixler stole your ex-girlfriend or some shit, or if like Mixler pissed you off somehow, but you hate Mixler.
I mean, the problem was that in the first 5 shows that we did, there was a significant sound issue with.
That was my problem, dude, because I fucked it up.
2 of the 5 were my problem. That's something I did because I didn't know what I was doing.
But sometimes you make problems out of nothing.
But when you're walking into your 6th week and you've had no show sound good all year, you'd either have to be pretty darn stupid or bothered by that. One or the other.
But you have to question what it really is and quit blaming the fucking Mixler for it, dude.
Part of it's the part. I mean, like I don't get why. Like, it's like I could either have music or have you hear the people that are on my show, but I cannot have both. That's weird.
But no, have your shows been fine? Okay, so you say the professor has all this professional equipment and shit. Okay, and then you have whatever it is that you have.
I have 2 computers and a headset.
Okay, and Lenny and I use both Walmart USB headsets that we plug into our PC, computer, desktop, whatever. And even Apple iPhone earbuds will work lovely. Those are wonderful for what we're doing. And so then there's you.
No. Ever since we sat down with Mixler and did that one thing with the day, but the sound on my show has been fine, but the music's been missing.
Oh,
so I've learned to live with that. It's like, all right, the music's missing.
Why don't you get some new music?
No, because if I play the music, it will screw up the sound.
Why?
People.
Oh,
here's the thing. We're talking about Mixler. Something's going to be gone in 2 weeks.
I have a fix for you, dude.
No.
Listen to me, Doug. Right now. Listen to me.
Away.
Listen to me, Doug. That 3rd bar in Mixler, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The one that you play your music in, right? You don't need to hear it for your friends. They don't need to hear it. Just let it play for the listeners. Do you understand?
And what I'm saying is I can do that right now, and either nobody will hear it, or if I play it, then it will reduce the volume on the professor and Brendan's voices. So I've chosen to go without the music. But it'll go away. When speaker comes on, it'll go away.
You pretty much come up with your own personal idea of about how Mixler works and shit. Like, you've come up with your own scenario.
No, it's what's happened on Mixler. It's like the music and the voices both can't run simultaneously.
Did you know that we don't change our opinion even like if facts don't change opinion? Did you know that?
It's literally what you told me to do was like shut off shut off the capacity for it to hear anything else except for these people's voices, and their voices come out, and it does work that way. And because I think that their voices are more important than the music, I chose them to go that direction.
Did you guys know that if you have your mind made up about something and then even facts come out that say that your mind is not right, that you find a way to continue to believe I
think most people do that, yes.
Yes.
Right.
Even facts don't change our opinion.
And I'm changing your opinion. Andrea, do you have a show this week that you're going to be on?
Yeah, I do Monday nights with that guy on 8 o'clock. Okay, and then I do Sirius on Sunday mornings from 7 to 10. And then I do with Lewis on Friday mornings at 10 o'clock. We do Nothing But Fantasy.
All right.
And Dugout is on at 10 a.m. on Saturday mornings. And Easy Kill,
you were getting there.
The Round Table is on at 10 o'clock on Tuesdays. Everybody's welcome. And then on Wednesdays, he does Fantasy Fan Sportscast with our friend Chris Allen. He's very nice.
Nice for me.
Whatever. I don't think he's as nice as he pretends to be. I think he's pretty much got a sassy side to him, but he doesn't like to express it. But I wish he would.
I'm too sweet. All right, everybody. It's 12:30.
Good night.
I appreciate everyone for coming out. I had a blast. Andrea, thank you for coming on.
I feel like I'm getting cut off right now.
I love cutting you off every once in a while. Dan, thanks for working with us while you were working.
Adios, fun. Thanks for having me.
Bye, Doug.
Douglas, thank you for coming on. I hope you start feeling better. Everybody, join us tomorrow morning. Lenny Melnick, afantasysports.com, Legend Sports Network at 9 o'clock to talk baseball and some Andy Bauer talk or some Bauer, any Bauer. Say goodnight, guys.
Later.
This has been Just a Fantasy Fan podcast. And to keep your fantasies going, follow us at justafantasyfan.com. Say good night. Good night.